And for all our good friends back in East Lansing, put another log on the fire, folks. It is a beautiful 73 degrees and sunny here. Just a touch chillier back there in Michigan with a forecast of snow. So settle in, everybody, and see what your Spartans can do against the Stanford Cardinal as the captains come now. And our referee is from the Big 12 today, Mike DeFee. Tournament of Roses president down there is Scott Jenkins, and our Grand Marshal Vin Scully. So let's go down now to Mike DeFee. He will be the man in charge of the coin toss.
Okay, gentlemen, congratulations on playing in the 100th Rose Bowl game. My name's Mike DeFee. I'm your referee today. This is Scott Campbell. He's your umpire.
Pleasure, guys.
I want to introduce to you a couple of dignitaries. Mr. Scott Jenkins, the president for the Tournament of Roses, and Vin Scully, our Grand Marshal.
Congratulations.
Mr. Jenkins, the coin, please. Okay, gentlemen, the coin has a Stanford logo and a Michigan State logo. The winner of the toss will be the logo who's left up. Mr. Scully.
Thank you, sir.
Will you do the honors for us, please?
I sure will. And Happy New Year to both of you.
Michigan State, you won the toss. You want to defer your option to the second half. You want the football. Which end do you want to defend? You want to kick from that end? Put your backs at that end of the field. You're going to kick this way? Okay. Michigan State won the toss, deferred their option to the second half. Stanford will receive. Shake hands, gentlemen.
This has been the Nissan pre-game rush. Well, Heather Cox and Tom Rinaldi are with us, and Heather's got Stanford coach David Shaw down below, so let's go to Heather. Happy New Year, Heather.
Happy New Year to you as well, Brent. Coach, last year your defensive leader, Shane Scove, took the Rose Bowl locker room and brought a ton of emotion addressing the team. I heard he did the same thing moments ago. What message did he issue to the team?
You know, the message was from a fifth-year senior who's playing his last game. But he's not thinking about the nostalgia of playing his last game. He's talking about taking advantage of this great opportunity to play in the 100th Rose Bowl with his brothers.
Enjoy it, Coach, and Happy New Year. And now let's go across the field to Tom Rinaldi.
Heather, thanks very much. Alongside Coach D'Antonio, 26 years for your program to get here. How have you coached your team to manage the moment?
Well, we tried to peak at game time. We keep talking about keep the lion in the cage. And, at game time, let the lion out. So we're going to find out what we got.
Time to roar. You heard it. Brett?
Thank you, Tom. And a Happy New Year to you, too, my friend. Isn't it interesting that the first Rose Bowl brought together Stanford against Michigan? Now, Michigan won that game, and it has not been played in consecutive years, and that's why today we are celebrating the 100th edition of this special game, which was resumed in 1916. You can see that first game we mentioned too was in 1902, and the game was moved to North Carolina in 1942 because of restrictions during the Second World War. The USC has dominated with 24 victories. And now today, the 100th edition. Michigan State, of course, deferred, and that means that Stanford will get the ball. They have the #1 return team in the country, and Ty Montgomery is the man back deep. We are underway in Pasadena. This is Montgomery. The Spartans are going to see what he's got. And he's out to the 24-yard line. So here to help us introduce Stanford's starting quarterback is 1970 Heisman Trophy winner and 1971 Rose Bowl MVP Jim Plunkett.
The Cardinal starting quarterback for today's game is Kevin Hogan from McLean, Virginia. Kevin is 16-2 as a starter and seeking his second straight Rose Bowl victory. Good luck, Kevin, and go Stanford.
So Herbie Kevin now brings them out. 6'4", 228 pounds, and he can fool you. He's got a good deep arm.
He sure does. He has a deep arm, and he has quick feet. He can move around, and that's something he's going to have to do today against this Michigan State tenacious, aggressive defense.
Tyler Gaffney is the I-back. He gets the first play up the middle, and the middle of that Spartan defense met him head on, and Herbie, let's take a look now at some of our impact players. We've already mentioned the two fellas from Stanford.
Yeah, 25, Tyler Gaffney. He'll have his hands on the football at least 25 times tonight. Ty Montgomery's going to make some plays in the passing game. Also see him on reverses. Danico Allen has to step up. He leads this team at tackles, needs to provide the leadership. And Darquez Denard, they'll keep him on an island along with Trey Wayans. He's got to make plays and hold up in one-on-one coverage against a talented group of Stanford receivers.
Hewitt motions out for the Cardinal. Their first pass of the game. Throw it downfield, and it is caught at the 30-yard line by Michael Rector, one of the speedsters who steps up, so they went right at the corner.
Now this is the matchup that everybody wanted to see. Could Hogan take advantage of some outside one-on-one coverage? This is going to be a big part of this game. Michigan State literally begs you to take some chances, and Michael Rector, he's averaging 32 yards a reception this year. He only has 12 catches on the year, but he's been a big play receiver for the Cardinal attack, and he gets off to a great start here.
They come back with that power eye look. Gaffney will try the left side, finds daylight, and he crosses the 30-yard line. Isaiah Lewis makes the stop. We're going to refer to this offensive line often because, Herbie, you and I have talked. We think that this could be the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah, Andres Pete at the left tackle is just a man and will be the star next year. David Yankee, arguably the best lineman in the country. Wilkes has moved from guard to center. Kevin Dancer, Cameron Fleming, they played so much football together. The continuity, the way they're coached by Mike Bloomgren, I would say they are the best offensive line, not just physically, but they're technicians. They take a lot of pride in it.
Cajuste is matched up one-on-one on this play, and Hogan looks in that direction, can't find an opening, so he takes off himself and reaches the 26-yard line. Jones with the stop, one of the Spartan linebackers.
Michigan State gets Stanford to third down. Remember, Michigan State, the best third down defense in the country, only allowing 27% in conversions. It's a big third down here to see after that big play by Rector to see if they can slow down the Cardinal attack.
And Wilkerson will check in as the running back here for this third down. Now Hewitt comes back to give Hogan a hand if they have to pick up a defensive player. Wilkerson, Hogan keeps it, steps up to the 20-yard line for a first down. That was a very nice bit of ball handling by the quarterback.
It sure was. Hey, you know, Stanford has done this all year. They save third downs for Kevin Hogan. He rides it and then he pulls it. He's actually reading the outside linebacker, Twan Jones, number 34. Watch Twan Jones. He'll stay with the back. It allows Hogan to keep the football, and this is what we talked about. He doesn't have to do a lot with his feet, but just enough to keep the drive alive on third down, whether it's a scramble, creating, or a run like that to keep the sticks moving.
Gaffney back on the field. Play action on the first down, and they slip it out to the outside of Montgomery with great speed. Across the 15-yard line and finally pushed out of bounds right around the 10. In fact, he made it across the 10. He did indeed, I believe.
And Curtis Drummond takes a chance here. Now remember, Michigan State coming out of the Big Ten, they haven't seen a lot of receivers with the speed and playmaking ability of Ty Montgomery. They've been able to make these plays in the open field. Drummond that time bites on a little inside move and then the quickness and acceleration to get downfield. Drummond takes a chance here, Brent. This could have been a loss of 4 or 5. Instead, the missed tackle there, and all of a sudden he picks up 3 or 4 yards.
So the officials say that he stepped out at the 16-yard line, and they moved the spot back to that. Here's Gaffney on a little bit of a cutback, breaks that first tackle loose, end zone, touchdown Stanford. Tyler Gaffney with the first score as he hits pay dirt, 16 yards.
Talked about how multiple Stanford is, Brent. There's a look here in their first drive. 7 plays, 77 yards. You saw a little bit of everything there with the run game, the pass, the quarterback creating and making some plays there on third down, and then missed tackles by Michigan State, something we've not seen all year from the Spartans. Lewis missed a top opportunity there to stop Gaffney. He bounced off and got into the end zone for a touchdown.
Jordan Williamson adds the extra point after this touchdown run by Gaffney. So the young man who spent a year in the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball organization has a great love for football, and Stanford says, come on back.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
A 77-yard touchdown drive with Gaffney finishing it off from the 16-yard line has Stanford up ahead. And Jordan Williamson is a story. He had a hip problem, but he's been kicking very well in practice, and he will kick off. Coach Shaw telling us that he has a very long leg. Now, R.J. Shelton, a freshman from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, is back. And guess who his protector is? Kyler Ellsworth, number 41. That's right, the starting middle linebacker is right there. But they want this ball in Shelton's hands. And Shelton awaits it in the end zone. And there's Williamson's big leg. They'll take a knee coming out of the 25.
Let's go back to this touchdown. Kevin Dancer, the right guard, involved in a double team here. It initially starts, and then he works his way up to Danico Sallin, right in the middle of that offense, or that defense. Remember, we don't have Max Bola in there, but this is what I was talking about right here. Boom! Isaiah Lewis has a chance to stop him at the 10-yard line, and if he doesn't bring his arms and wrap up Tyler Gaffney, this is a different kind of back that he's facing than some of the backs he's faced in the Big Ten. He is a powerful runner.
Spartans' first play from the 25-yard line. Langford on a play action. Connor Cook rolls out and completes the first pass to Gleichert.
You're going to see a lot of this with Connor Cook, rolling him away from the pressure. Stanford leads the nation in sacks with 40. Not only rolling him out, but getting the ball out of his hands quickly to the tight end, Gleichert. Not only does he get it out of his hands, but it gets the ball to Gleichert with a chance to work out in space, and he picks up some valuable yards for the Spartans.
So a 17-yard gain on first down, and the ball is across the 41-yard line for Michigan State. Now it's Langford, hole on that right side of the line, and he crosses midfield before Ed Reynolds brings him down.
Brett, they brought both the inside linebackers here, Scove and Tarpley. See them right into the middle. Great job of sustaining their blocks there by Treadwell and Allen, and it opened up very quickly. Great vision there. You see him hesitate and then explode through the hole. Langford's been doing that all year long. See Scove coming there, timing up the blitz. He's done that all year, but he is picked up perfectly there by Blake Treadwell, the leader of this offensive line.
First down for the Spartans. They have barged into the Cardinal territory, trailing it by a touchdown. Gleichert's number 92. And Connor Cook going to keep it in the air. Fires near side. Incomplete. And you know, here to help us introduce Michigan State starting quarterback is a man who rushed for 2 touchdowns in the 1988 Rose Bowl. Here's Lorenzo White.
The Spartan starting quarterback for the day is super sophomore Connor Cook from Hinckley, Ohio. For the season, he threw for 20 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Let's go, Connor. Let's go, Spartans.
Herbie, I did a lot of games with he was a heck of a running back up there.
Powerful guy, ahead of his time back in 1980.
Second down and 10 now for Connor Cook and the Spartans. And a handoff, and that's Kings, the wide receiver who lined up in the backfield. And he's pushed out of bounds on the far side at about the 42. Quick look at the impact players.
Yeah, Langford, of course, has had just a terrific second half of the season, 8 straight 100-yard games. Tony Lippett, Benny Fowler, the entire group of receivers, much more productive than people give credit. Trent Murphy and Shane Scove, 93 and 11, will be all over the field for the Stanford defense.
So this is the hurry up and wait. It looked like the Spartans were going to hit us with some tempo, but instead when they came up, they gave the coaches a chance to check the defensive set of Stanford, and here they come. Option look, and Cook is going to be thrown for a loss. Can't get back to the line of scrimmage because number 93, Trent Murphy from Mesa, Arizona, brings him down, and Trent Murphy is a dandy.
And they're trying to recognize the man under coverage because of what you talked about here. Here's Trent Murphy. He's an outside linebacker, but on third down, they'll put his hand in the ground. Watch him work through that offensive line. Jack Conklin, a freshman, matched up against one of the best players in the country. It's a mismatch, and Murphy takes advantage of it.
So it's fourth down, and here comes one of the Big Ten's better punters, Mike Sadler. He can win field position, and Cody Whitfield will try to prove otherwise. Gonna hope this one goes into the end zone, and it does. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. So Stanford scores on its first possession, and Michigan State is forced to punt We'll be right back.
The 2014 Rose Bowl game is presented by Vizio Fandemonium. Go to VizioFanZone.com and outshout your rival to push your team to victory. And in part by Chevrolet, find new roads. Coke Zero, with real Coke taste and zero compromise. Coke Zero lets you enjoy everything. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Some photos from the first 25 Rose Bowls as we celebrate the 100th Rose Bowl game here today. And here's an alert for Michigan State Spartan fans. Stanford's first 4 drives against Arizona State in the Pac-12 championship in Tempe, Arizona, resulted in touchdowns for the Cardinal. Gaffney again. No hole on the left side. Thrown for a loss. Kyler Ellsworth there to hit him.
You go back to that opening drive that you were talking about, Brent. A little bit of everything for Stanford. They hit the big deep ball here to Michael Rector. Big third down by Kevin Hogan. He keeps it, gets just enough to keep the drive alive. And then the toughness of Tyler Gaffney bounces off of Isaiah Lewis and into the end zone on 7-play, 77-yard drive. And because of that, it's a big drive here early for the Spartans defense.
So we mentioned Ellsworth for the first time. Oh, make it the second time. Remember, he was the protector on the kickoff, but he's made his first impact on defense as he throws Gaffney for a loss. And now on second down, Hogan going deep and incomplete at midfield. Rector the intended target.
That's the matchup that they want, not just to Michael Rector, but you're going to see a lot of this. They already hit the deep ball to Rector against a corner. Now they're looking to try to get Rector down at the bottom here against a safety. The safeties are about 8 to 10 yards off the ball, making it easier in man-to-man to be able to attack them, where the corners are up tight in press coverage. You'll see more of that from Stanford as the game goes on.
3rd and long, and Wilkerson returns as the running back. And a flag prior to the snap.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now, looking at defeat reminds me that before the game, Herbie, I had a chance to talk to the entire officiating crew. And they said, you know what's different? Remember now, they're from the Big 12. They're going to huddle in this game. And we said, what's a huddle? Because if you think about the Big 12, Baylor, many of those folks coming off that game, they just line up and look to the sideline.
We're not used to seeing huddles.
3rd down and a bunch after the penalty. Quick throw to the outside and nothing doing. Stanford forced to punt. Rector was swallowed on that reception.
That is a great play by Denard, the Jim Thorpe Award winner, the top defensive back in the country. And that's a great bounce-back drive for the Spartans. They get a 3-and-out, and they not only get a 3-and-out, but they pin Stanford deep in their own territory and should get outstanding field position here for Connor Cook.
And this could well wind up being a game of field position. Kings is back deep to return this, and the punter for Stanford is Ben Ryan. Kings has to drift back. Beautiful punt. Fields it inside the 30-yard line and can't escape the gunner. It looked like a moment like he might tear free, but that's all the way back to the 20-yard line. That is a big-time punt, and Ronnie Harris was the defensive back and gunner who was all over the return man that time. We'll take a break. Field position, and there's the injured player firing him up on the sideline. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Game-changing superior performance when it counts. Goodyear, more driven. The beauty of Southern California on a New Year's Day, 2014. Well, we mentioned Men Gardner over there on the sideline. And yes, he has put on his pads. Now, he can't play. He was injured against Oregon State. And in last year's Rose Bowl, Herbie, you might recall, he had a half-dozen tackles. And here comes Michigan State, and nothing doing on that first down run. David Perry makes the stop.
Yeah, going back to Gardner, what a tremendous leader. It's amazing. How many times have you seen a guy get hurt with a month of football to be played and still become an all-conference player? I mean, he has had not just a great year, a brilliant career here. And a guy that didn't have any scholarship offers coming out of high school outside of Stanford. Just a tremendous leader and a big part of this team after the injury, just providing the leadership.
Second down, and Cook is going to air it out to the near side, and that is complete to King. Now, he is the young man who was driven back on that 60-yard punt, and it completely surprised him.
I think it did, and I think he let the ball play him. He did a poor job of judging the football. By the time he caught it, he was running backwards. It ended up being a -3 with the return, but he makes up for it there. That was a tremendous effort, not just to make the catch.
Absolutely.
Did you see the effort to dive there and lead with the football? That picked up the first down there on second down and long for the Spartans.
So the ball is out to the 32-yard line. Cook moves the pocket to the right. He snaps it off. Complete to Lippett. Tony Lippett.
See the blitz coming to the right. You notice again, Connor Cook is rolling here. He's going to roll right into the blitz. It's going to be coming right here from his face, but it's picked up by Langford there, and he gets the ball out quickly. How many times early in this game are we seeing Connor Cook rolling right and rolling left away from the pressure? And I believe Michigan State came into this game respecting Stanford's ability to stop the run. They're going to have to throw it tonight to be able to set up Jeremy Langford in the running game.
Yeah, and Herbie Cook is 3 of 4 here in the early going. There's a draw play with Langford, and he comes across the midfield on first down before Shane Scove can hit it.
You're going to see Shane Scove in the middle of this defense. He takes on the fullback Pendleton. It'll be a good matchup. Pendleton going low there, and you'll never see 11 stop chasing the football. He's one of the more tenacious, more aggressive linebackers, not just in the Pac-12, but in the country. Doesn't have the most gifted physical skills, but makes up for it with awareness and instincts and tremendous attitude leading this defense.
So Pendleton, the fullback, and Langford. And Langford will now motion out of the backfield, and Cook is going to swing it right to him. And Scove slowed him up and helped arrive on that second down. And a couple of penalty flags come flying on the play.
Yeah, it looked like a late hit by Michigan State. Just talked about Pendleton, the fullback, how aggressive he is. He might have been a little too aggressive after the whistle.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 37. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. It'll be third down.
And that's exactly who it was, Herbie.
Yeah, it looked like it was a play that was defended very well by Stanford. They do a good job, not just with Scove, but the receivers getting off it. It comes late, right at Ed Reynolds, 29. Whistle's blown, plays dead, and that's a mental mistake. That'll drive Mark D'Antonio and his offensive staff crazy. They tried to get a little continuity, get a little rhythm going in the offense, and a mental mistake like that just can kill you.
3rd and 23. The ball pushed all the way back to the Spartan 34-yard line. Stanford rushes 3, and it's incomplete. Cook was forced out of the pocket on a 3-man rush and thought he had a quick, easy pitch to Langford, but it was Henry Anderson who was bringing the heat.
Henry Anderson is 6'6", 295 pounds. He's on one side. Josh Morrow at 6'6", 282 on the other. They're long and they're athletic. You would think rushing 3 and dropping 8, he'd have plenty of time. But do not underestimate the quickness and the length of this Stanford front.
So now it will be the Spartan punter, Mike Sadler again, and guess who's deep? A familiar name, Barry Sanders. And yes, he is the son of the legend. High booming punt, and here comes young Sanders, driven back down to the 12-yard line. Couldn't find any daylight, and Tabor Pepper, the long snapper, able to get down the field and make the stop. It's always a plus if you've got a good athlete as your long snapper. You're watching the 2014 Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio on ESPN. Here's what they're missing with the suspension of Max Bullock.
Yeah, just an amazing player. 40 straight starts for this defense. An extension of Pat Narduzzi as a leader of the defense, understanding the scheme, how to attack offenses, tendencies from offenses. So not only do you lose his physicality, but you really lose just the understanding and the leader in the middle of that defense. We're keeping an eye on Kyler Ellsworth, 41, to see how he steps up today.
Well, the Spartans shut down Stanford on that last drive, and Gaffney will get the first carry behind Hewitt. Big hole, 25, 30, 40, and Hewitt led the way, and Gaffney makes it to the 36-yard line before Denard and Jones can bring him down.
Yeah, watch the block here by Hewitt, 85. Also, Devin Kajust involved in opening that play up, and he bounces it to the outside there in a hurry. That play opened up. It looked like Michigan State had it bottled up, but again, the quickness and acceleration of Tyler Gaffney. He's 6'1", 225 pounds, but he can pull away from you. You see they took a chance. They kind of shot a gap there with Nikos Allen, but Hewitt sustained that block, and it opened it up there. Big hole there for Gaffney.
47-yard run. Stanford now checking the sideline. So David Shaw burns a timeout here, and that'll give us a chance to mention what's next on ESPN, because two teams will be making their BCS debut. Bryce Petty and the Baylor Bears face Blake Bortles and the Central Florida Golden Knights. That's a Tostitos Fiesta Bowl tonight at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. And if you haven't seen Blake Bortles, it's worth checking out. One night I watched him, Herbie, and I was amazed at how good he was. And I've always liked George O'Leary as a coach. So Baylor, a big favorite in that game, better not take this team too easily.
And there's always one of the BCS bowl games where one of the teams maybe doesn't necessarily respect their opponent and they get embarrassed. That's going to be the challenge for Baylor. UCF is a great football team with an outstanding coach in George O'Leary, and Blake Bortles, as you said, some people feel that if he comes out, could be one of the first quarterbacks taken in the draft this spring.
So Hewitt is now set in front of Wilkerson, who has replaced Gaffney after that big run. Play action, first down. Deep arm, one-on-one, incomplete. Overthrew the receiver, and he had a man breaking for the end zone. That was Ty Montgomery, covered by Waynes of Michigan State.
You know, they got pressure to him there. He was waiting. The play took a little bit of time to develop. He had some receivers downfield, but eventually Michigan State got there. I think it was Tyler Hoover, number 91, that eventually got there. And I think he actually affected the pass and caused that ball to kind of float up into the air.
Back in the gun on second down and 10. Keeping it all the way. And again, trying fumble, loose ball. Spartans on it. And it looked like Nikos Allen, fabulous player from Michigan State, was down there. He forced the fumble when it came loose. But they retained possession, the Cardinal. It looked like Michigan State was going to recover this, so there was some great hustle here by the Cardinal.
Michigan State had the first two, maybe even three defenders there all over the football. Nikos Allen, the leader, the leading tackler, is right there. Drone, actually, I think 42, gets a hand on the ball and puts it in the air. Isaiah Lewis had his hands on it, misses it. There's Hoover with a chance to recover it. Isaiah Lewis has another chance. It looked like Denard was in there. It looked like Drone hustling there and knocked that ball loose. Yeah,
and maybe it's a first down across the 25-yard line, and a rested Gaffney returns, and now Coach Shaw, who calls the plays, has gone to one of his jumbo looks. And frequently, this is Kamatule who comes in. Take a look at that beef, folks. And he's bringing even more beef over to that left side. Hewitt headed there. Gaffney, though, tried to cut away from it. And the Spartans weren't fooled, and that was Denard making another stop.
Yeah, they slanted that defensive line. Remember, they've had 3.5 weeks to prep for this. They've heard all about Stanford and that jumbo package and the tendencies that come with that. And part of what David Shaw will do early in a game is he'll give you formations, and he's very interested to see how you react. And you might win a battle, but he will come back with a war and try to adjust and make a play and either throw off of it or break a tendency off a certain formation.
He was an assistant coach in the National Football League for 9 years. Play action. Incomplete. So he and Montgomery were not on the same page that time. So we take a look at the David Shaw background, and those are the NFL teams that he coached for. Remember, he was also a wide receiver in the league. His father, Willie Shaw, who's on the sideline, he was a lifer, folks, and he had 2 terms at Stanford, and that's where David grew up a Stanford fan. So here we go now on a 3rd down against this Spartan defense. Inside pitch, and that was Wilkerson, and he is short of the 1st down. Williamson up to make the stop.
R.J. Williamson in there in a nickel package does a good job. I think initially it may have caught Michigan State off guard. A little shuffle pass. See, he gets underneath to Nico Salen. Yankee picks him up, but a good awareness that time by the sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio. Comes up and makes the play and run support and forces his field goal.
And so, Herbie, here is Jordan Williamson. Inside of 50 yards, he's 16 of 18. This will be his 19th attempt because it's a 34-yarder. The right hash, he curls it in. Stanford with a touchdown and now a field goal, and they lead the Spartans 10-0 with 1:40 remaining in our 1st quarter. So if you go back to 1988, that was the last time that the Spartans were in the Rose Bowl game. And we mentioned Lorenzo White, who introduced Connor Cook. He had 2 TDs in the 1st half, and they went out 14-3. But Rodney Peete brought them back, and it was John Langloh kicking the game-winning field goal. Michigan State won in 2017, and Percy Snow was the MVP as we take a look at their Rose Bowl history. Back in the 50s, Herbie, they were an awesome football team up in East Lansing.
My dad.
Take my word for it.
I believe you. my dad was a freshman at Ohio State in '57 and a captain in '60. And you could see it was a long dry spell there from '66 to '88 and even longer to get to this Rose Bowl here today, and has their fan base pretty excited. And a lot of them came out here. Huge representation from the Spartans.
So Shelton is back deep again with Ellsworth. And the Spartan fans are a little quiet because Michigan State only gave up 29 1st quarter points all season. Folks, that's 13 games, and already the favored Cardinal have put 10 up.
You know, it's the 2nd time in the last 28 games that they've given up double-digit points in the 1st quarter. So this is uncharted territory for this unit.
And Shelton not given a chance. Out it will come to the 25-yard line, and so a lot of pressure now on young Connor Cook. He's from Walsh Jesuit High School in Hinckley, Ohio.
Yeah, up in the Cleveland area. At this point, they've had 11 offensive plays. That's it in the 1st quarter. They've run the ball 5 times, thrown it 6. They've only run for 17 yards. Coming in, I think we all knew that it would be a challenge for them to run the ball against this Stanford front 7. Their best bet is going to be to put the ball in the hands of Connor Cook here, and he's going to have to make some plays through the air and rely on his wide receivers to be able to find holes in zone and be able to break away from man-to-man coverage.
Back in the gun. Langford, nothing doing against the middle of that Stanford front. So, Herbie, I think we're seeing why when this game was posted, the Cardinal was favored for about a field goal, and it has risen almost every day, and now they go off as a 7-point favorite at kickoff time. There's a lot of respect out in Nevada for Stanford.
there should be. These guys defensively, you look at them and you think, well, how are they able to do it every week against the run? They run an NFL scheme. They play a 3-4. The defensive line eats up the offensive line, and it frees those linebackers to run to the football against the run game.
From the gun, Cook can't find an open target, and he is sacked at the 24-yard line. That was Blake Luters.
Well, they are disguising things when they know that Cook's going to go back there. This time they are showing they're going to bring pressure, and eventually they just rush 3. See a linebacker there kind of coming in a little bit late there, but they're disguising it until Kevin Anderson helps out 48. But they call this plastering their receivers. Try to find somebody to throw the football to. That's what Connor Cook's looking into. That's why he's holding on to it. That was the goal of Derek Mason, the defensive coordinator. Make Connor Cook hold on to the football, and then you can get the pressure to him.
The Spartans bunch receivers to the right. Cook, middle, off a deflection. Could have been intercepted, but Kings caught the ricochet for the Spartans.
Boy, Connor Cook got away with one there, boy. Right through the hands of Kevin Anderson, the sophomore. He sits back in zone, and I don't think Cook ever saw him. He threw it right into his chest. It goes off of his hands and into the air, and there's Kings alert to be able to recognize the football, and he picks up a first down. The Spartans got away with one there.
14 yards, and thank you very much as we come to the end.
You got to be lucky once in a while, right?
Absolutely. End of our first quarter here in Pasadena, and we're back after these messages. You're watching the granddaddy of them all, presented by Vizio on ESPN. Herbie, you and I are going to talk all game long about number 25 for Stanford, Tyler Gaffney. And as you pointed out, when he came from baseball, he's a little bit tougher than we thought.
Yeah, really wondered, filling the shoes of Stephon Taylor, how he would do. He's had such a big year.
Now Connor Cook going deep down that far sideline, incomplete. It was on a 1st and 10 to start the second quarter from the 38-yard line. Wayne Lyons with coverage.
Yeah, and Michigan State, I think this is part of what they have to be able to do is stretch the field, take some chances. When you roll your quarterback out, theoretically, you're becoming a quarterback that's reading half the field. So you don't have as many receivers to be able to choose from. That time they rolled him right, trying to test the discipline of the Stanford defense. But that time Wayne Lyons stride for stride in good position with the receiver.
2nd and 10, and the fullback Pendleton in as one of the bodyguards. Cook is going to air it out again. Snaps it off, complete into the middle, and that was Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit, Michigan. He went to Crockett High School.
And you got a twist up front, movement from the linebackers. Watch, you have both their 2 best players, Murphy, and also you have Scove coming on the blitz. But because it's picked up, and actually Murphy didn't get picked up, but because you had Scove picked up and the quarterback Cook was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, huge void underneath the coverage. Derek Mason took a chance by bringing both of his linebackers.
So it's a first down across the 40-yard line for Sparty. Fake the end around off the play action. Cook trying to buy time, picks up the running back Langford. And Langford beats a couple of tacklers. Did a very powerful job of running, but tacklers 3 and 4 got there, and Blake Luters was bringing him down.
Well, that's just too slow developing. He telegraphed the screen, the entire Stanford defense moving over in that direction. Langford, pretty heroic effort there just to be able to pick up a couple yards. Thought at one point, because it was taking so long, you might see Cook just throw it into the feet of Langford, but he decided to give him the football, and he ended up picking up at least a few yards.
2nd down and 8. 3 receivers off to the field or the left side. Cook keeping it all the way at a quarterback draw, and did not fool the Cardinal that time, as number 48, Kevin Anderson, we've mentioned his name a couple of times, junior from Palo Alto, California, makes the stop.
Well, anytime an offense goes empty, that's one thing you have to be aware of, but it's good awareness here by Anderson. He recognizes it right quick, collapses down in a hurry, and if he doesn't make that decision, then that time you will see Cook, who can surprise you with some speed. He would have definitely picked up a first down.
3rd down and 6. Pendleton, and now Langford motions out. Cook can't find an open receiver, checks back. Now he completes it to Pendleton, the fullback, and he's across the 15-yard line for a first down before Tarpley can bring him down. I was impressed with Cook's patience when he looked behind him to make sure he didn't have somebody on his backside.
He's felt a lot of pressure. He actually looks over his right shoulder. He steps up into the pocket and he starts to bail. And then look, right over his right shoulder. Where's Murphy? Where the heck is 93s? He realizes he's got a chance. And how about Pendleton this time making the catch after the penalty that put Michigan State way, way back in their own territory. Good job by Cook and a nice hands there by the fullback.
So the Spartans barge to the red zone. Langford, daylight. And he's to the 6-yard line. Lyons and Richards with the stop.
They overload the right side. They bring a tackle over. You're thinking that everybody's going to flow to the offense's right. The defense is thinking the same thing. It's a design cutback the other way. Michael Dennis, the left tackle, or the tight end who's lined up as a left tackle, does a good job of sealing Shane Skov, and that opened up on the backside there for the Michigan State offense.
Lippett and Fowler are in on this set. Second down and short. Langford, again that hole on the left side, but it closes quickly, and he's near the 3-yard line, and that was a stop that was made by Amanum, and he was our defensive most valuable player last year. Remember that interception in the
late in the
fourth quarter
game?
against
He sure
the
was.
Badgers.
He's had a great career. This Michigan State offense all of a sudden starting to find themselves and starting to settle down. They've made some plays on this drive through the air, on the ground. This is tough sledding. You start to try to run the football against Stanford inside the 10 and 5-yard line. It's a tough thing to do, but they've had some success here on these last couple plays.
They've been finding some daylight early on the left side. Now Langford is lined up on the right side. A little bit of an option look with Cook. He's going to step back, and he's forced to throw it away.
Well, I don't think that was a design play, but I think he started to stretch that play out, and he had nowhere to go. And instead of taking a 4- or 5-yard loss or pitching it to Langford, he just kept bailing and just said, to heck with it. Let's take a chance and throw it away and hope we don't get called for an illegal man downfield. But that was a design speed option.
Second down and goal from the 4-yard line. Langford, the running back, as they break the huddle. Two receivers are off to the left for Cook. And they're going to run Fowler and nothing doing. A terrific play by Kevin Anderson.
Yeah.
My goodness, he's made several big plays.
Yeah, he dropped the interception, but he's had some big plays here on this drive. This time, boy, what a great job of just fighting through the tight end this time, Michael Dennis. He gets through him. Dennis is a big guy. He's really an offensive tackle with 300 pounds, but he wears 94. He fought him. He got separation, and that's what allowed him to get upfield. I told you, it is tough to run the football on Stanford inside this 10-yard line.
So they're back at the 9, and now you would think that they would throw off play action on this third down. Straight drop back. And too high, but a penalty will give the Spartans a fresh set of downs. Wayne Lyons all over the receiver.
Boy, did Michigan State catch a break there. That ball was thrown high, and I don't think the receiver had a chance to make a play on it at all. That ball sailed well over the head of Kings. And if they end up getting this call, that's a big break for Michigan State.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Kings has been pretty active in this game plan. You can see, they try to take a one-on-one break. Inside technique by the corner, Lyons. And that ball, again, whether Lyons touched him or not, that ball is going to sail well over the head of Kings. He wouldn't have had a chance, but they get the call.
So here is the first and goal for the Spartans, and here's Langford behind Pendleton. A great block. Touchdown, Michigan State. Back in it. But what a block by the fullback, Pendleton.
The big fullback had a heck of a drive, didn't he?
He really did.
Final football, made some big blocks, led Langford here. He takes on Joe Himscott, 40, who's trying to seal the edge. He pins him to the inside, and you get Langford to the corner, and a safety like Jordan Richards will not be able to slow him down from getting to the corner for a touchdown.
Freshman Michael Geiger from Toledo, Ohio, on for the extra point for the Spartans. Back within 3. Jeremy Langford, once a defensive back from Michigan State, converted to become the running back. Into the end zone for the Spartans. Two of the great legends there, Archie Griffin and John McKay. Archie, of course, from Ohio State. John McKay from the University of Southern California. Two of the great names that have graced this spectacle on New Year's Day. You can see the shadows starting to close in now. Sunset moving in on the San Gabriel Mountains in the background. Stanford 10, Michigan State 7. And when they kicked off the first time, Kevin Mumot did not avoid Ty Montgomery. Remember, Stanford leads the country in kickoff returns. They're going to give him another chance. Here he comes. 20, 25, looking for daylight, and kind of ran into his own man, and he's down at the 30-yard line.
Let's go back and take a look at today's Taco Bell touchdown spotlight and gets Michigan State back in this football game. The fullback, Trevin Pendleton, leads the way and get a nice block to seal the edge. Talked about how tough that is to run the football, but boy, the Spartans were able to accomplish that after the pass interference call. Great look at it right there, pinning it back to the inside, and that gives you a pretty good idea of the speed of Jeremy Langford, who's had 8 straight 100-yard football games for the Michigan State offense.
Tyler Gaffney be behind Hogan. They set up with the pistol on this first down against the Spartan defense. Gaffney cuts up the middle for a few yards, crosses the 30, and Lewis with the stop.
We talked earlier about Kyler Ellsworth. When you now have Darian Harris, a sophomore who is in there, they're going to mix both Ellsworth and Harris. Not only are they lined up, you see him, he's calling the defense. I mean, it's one thing to replace a linebacker. It's another thing to replace a guy who's called the defense for 40 straight games.
Kelsey Young, Herbie, is in, and sometimes he'll come on that end around on that sweep. But he is on the field for them right now. But the 3 receivers are content to sit. And Hogan with a straight drop back. Going to drop it off to Gaffney and underneath, and nothing much doing on that play.
Brent, I think you and Pat Narduzzi and the Michigan State defense were thinking the same thing, and I think it's why there was some hesitation there. There's Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator, who's won the Frank Broyles Award as a top assistant coach in the country. I think Kevin Hogan was hesitant. I think they may have had that call on, but Michigan State had aligned their defense just for that very thing in case of a jet sweep or reverse to Kelsey Young. They had changed their play. They looked a bit confused. Mark D'Antonio called timeout here.
Cajuste had checked in from the Stanford sideline, and D'Antonio took a look at the personnel matchup, and he said, we'll take one right here with 9:19 remaining in the first half. Stanford scored our first 10 points, and Michigan State with a touchdown right back in it.
2014 Rose Bowl game is brought to you by Gatorade. When you put in the hard work, you can win from within. Capital One Bank, official partner of the BCS. Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official corporate partner of the NCAA. Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Mas. And Ford, go further.
Rose Bowl photos leading up to the 60s. And Wisconsin fans will never forget Ron Vanderkullen and his performance in a loss against Bethard and USC. Third down now for the Cardinal.
Stanford tonight 1 of 3 so far in this game. And again, they're facing a defense that leads the nation in third down defense.
Harris has taken over as the middle linebacker for Michigan State. Hogan is straight back. Has time. Near side complete, and that's a first down. Working with Ty Montgomery, the junior from Dallas, Texas.
Well, outstanding job by Ryan Hewitt, number 85. Keep an eye on him, and also you see both backs inside. They know that Michigan State's bringing a pressure. They pick up the blitz, and once you give Kevin Hogan time to be able to look at one-on-one coverage on the outside, this is a heck of a matchup. Who's going to win? Ty Montgomery against the Thorpe winner, Denard, that time, because the quarterback had time. Great separation coming back to the football by Ty Montgomery.
So the line of scrimmage is the 43-yard line of the Cardinal. Gaffney's back in, and he's going nowhere. He is thrown for a loss as the Spartans were ready.
This is what's rare about Darqueze Dennard is he gets involved in supporting the run. First down, this is where Stanford typically, they're going to pick up yards here. They're going to get to that 2nd and 4 mark. But look how he tries to bounce it to the outside because it's so difficult to run into the teeth of that Michigan State defense. There's Harrison there, 45, who's replacing Bulla. But I'm always impressed when I look at Michigan State and watch Darqueze Dennard, a cover guy, but as a boundary corner, he is involved a lot in being able to stop the run game.
Now Ellsworth checks in on this 2nd and long, so he takes over the Mike linebacker spot. Hogan going deep, incomplete. Firing to double coverage that time, and that was Drummond and Lewis, the two fine safeties, and they had bracketed Cajuste.
Drummond is a very, very athletic safety. He gets there right about at the same time the ball gets there. The crowd, and I'm sure people at home saying maybe he got there a little bit too early and affected Cajuste and didn't allow him to catch the ball. But nonetheless, a no call there sets up a big 3rd down again for Stanford.
And D'Antonio answers with 3 changes on his defensive unit. They decide to run with Gaffney, and he couldn't slip the last man. So it is short of a 1st down. That was Drummond who made the stop on him.
How about that call on 3rd down and long? The confidence that they have in that offensive line in the running game. Maybe thinking about more of a field position game there, you know, but nonetheless, he almost popped that and picked up a 1st down.
If he'd have beaten that last man, he might still be running.
Exactly.
Kings is back deep now for the Spartans on this punt. Ben Ryan is the punter. Perfect snap. Bluffs the fair catch. And almost downed inside the 1-yard line. But the gunner couldn't get a grip on it, and Harris couldn't down it.
Ronnie Harris, he's been involved in special teams. He's trying to locate the football. And in college football, once that ball breaks the plane, it's a touchback in Michigan State football at the 20.
Happy New Year, everybody. The 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio with Stanford leading Michigan State 10-7. So the Spartans with the ball. They'll start from their own 20-yard line. Connor Cook, the quarterback, is 8 of 12 for 101 yards in this game. Going to try to throw on 1st down again. Shovel it off to Langford. And Langford running the wrong way.
Not against his team.
No, with Scove coming up and finishing it off. The pressure was being brought by Blake Luters.
Well, I think that's a miscue there by Langford initially trying to help out in pass protection. I think he gets a little confused on who he's going to pick up. And then after that, instead of just trying to just take as many as he can get, he's going to try to get around the corner. But there's just too many white jerseys and too much discipline on this defense to try to make something like that happen. And you see that emotional leader there, Shane Scove.
Browning and Harris are the 2 cornerbacks for Stanford right now. So they have subbed out their starters on this series. On 2nd down, rifles it off and bails him out with a beautiful play is McGarrett Kings from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Boy, Kings has been active in this football game. That's his 3rd catch now in the game for 48 yards. And I'm going to tell you something. It's the 2nd time we've seen Connor Cook, because of the pass rush, anticipate and throw his receiver open. He's throwing that ball into the hole, falling back off of his back foot and just kind of flipping it into the hole of the zone defense and making a throw. Because of the rush, he's got to get the ball out of his hands when he sits in the pocket.
So the 22-yard play brings it to the 37, and Connor Cook going to air it out again, incomplete. Overthrew his open target on that play. Benny Fowler had a step on the defensive back, and they couldn't quite hook up. But it is clear that the Spartans are not afraid to put it up against this secondary.
And we talked earlier in the first quarter. That's what they're going to have to do against Stanford. I mean, you look at their play calling: 12 runs, 15 passes, only 26 yards rushing compared to 118 yards through the air. And I'm going to tell you something. You give Connor Cook just enough time, he gets into a rhythm. He's got a great group of wide receivers to be able to try to distribute the football against this Stanford defense.
Burbridge, one of the wideouts for Michigan State. He's off to the left, and they come back with the run against that stout front.
It's almost as if they're running just to remind Stanford that, hey, don't forget, we still have Jeremy Langford. We're still going to occasionally pepper you with the physical running game. But really, they know that they're going to have to be able to throw it. And you and I talked earlier about Connor Cook. What an amazing story. This young man, early in the year, didn't know if he'd win the job, got benched in the last drive against Notre Dame, has come back to really provide the leadership. And he just carries himself now with such confidence because of everything that he's been through this year.
And on third down, Cook stepped up against the pressure. Now he's in trouble. He's in a foot race, and he's going to take it out of bounds. And Michigan State will be forced to punt it away with Luters, and doing the job again along with number 93. Luters and Murphy.
I'm surprised he gave up on this play, Brent, because once he got to the outside there, again, he has surprising speed. I think he was almost waiting to be sacked, and then once he gets outside right there, you know, then it becomes a foot race between he and Shane Skove, but instead he just kind of gives up on it and gets the heck away from all those white jerseys.
Cody Whitfield back deep here for Sadler's punt, and because he stepped out of bounds over there for a loss, that counts in the college statistics as a sack. Here's Whitfield looking for a return from the 15, shakes that first man, and that can sometimes give you a great return, but not the second. Down at the 16-yard line, Lawrence Thomas making the tackle for the Spartans. There's a penalty flag, I believe, at the 19-yard line, so hang on here.
Yeah, well, you wonder if that might be a horse collar, or Lawrence Thomas is a big defensive lineman coming down there on punt coverage.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, return team number 24, half the distance to the goal, it'll be first down, timeout.
Well, that is Shane Skove's brother, Patrick Skove, guilty of that. And so that ball is going to be brought back to the 8-yard line. That's where Kevin Hogan will start. Well, next Monday right here on ESPN, it'll be number 1 versus number 2 in the Vizio BCS National Championship. Heisman Trophy winner Jameis Winston and the Florida State Seminoles meet Trey Mason and the number 2 Auburn Tigers. Vizio BCS National Championship coverage begins next Monday, January 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. First down and 10 for Kevin Hogan, and the play was stopped before the handoff to Gaffney. So the flag comes flying.
False start. Offense, number 76. After this is the goal, first down.
That's a penalty on Danzer, Kevin Danzer.
He's saying what happened, and he just rocked in his stance. He didn't lift his hand up. He just kind of rocked just a bit, and the officials caught him for it.
Here is one of the most amazing statistics of the year. This Stanford offensive line has been called for only 2 holding calls all season. That's right, only 2 holding calls. Hard to believe. And now Hogan goes out. They go back to the Wildcat, and here comes Gaffney, and the Michigan State Spartans were ready for it. They throw him back in the end zone, looking for the safety call. But he was forward progress is going to be marked at about the 1-yard line. Kyler Ellsworth, who replaced Max Bulla, he read that play perfectly as soon as Hogan motioned out.
Brent, it's amazing. They prep this. As soon as Hogan gets out of there, there's an alert to the Michigan State defense. He gets out of there. Look at this guy. They completely leave Ty Montgomery alone. Look at Ty Montgomery. He has nobody on him. Tyler Gaffney's a former baseball player. He could have just pitched it out there to Ty Montgomery. He might have gone 95 yards. The guy over Montgomery came down to help out and run support.
Now second down for the Cardinal, backed up to the 1. Gaffney gets a handoff, and he gets out to about the 4-yard line, and that's going to set up 3rd and long. David Shaw calls the plays for Stanford. You can see him over there now looking at the play chart. And here comes the signal now to Hogan as to what he wants to do here with 3:30 remaining in the first half.
And at 3rd and 14, this is where you have to be very, very selective and careful. He has such a big board to choose from. He better make a wise decision on his own 5-yard line, and momentum kind of in the swing of going in favor of Michigan State. It's a big 3rd down.
They're going to show pistol. Mesh point a little bit quicker if they're just trying to. Now he's up under center. Backs up into the end zone, has time, deep down that side, out of bounds, and the Cardinal forced a punt from their own end zone.
A rare case of seeing Michigan State play man underneath and actually have a safety over the top. R.J. Williamson was over the top of Wayans that time to help him out. Usually you see these corners on an island with nobody back behind there, but on 3rd and 14, if Wayne's out there, but you see 26 coming over there to try to help him out.
Now a 60-yard punt and a 49-yard punt for Ben Ryan. But this is a pressure cooker. Kings is back deep, and again he's retreating, takes a bounce, and then it goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. What a leg for Ben Ryan. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He went to Charlotte Country Day, and now he tacks on a 54-yarder. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Game-changing, superior performance when it counts. Goodyear, more driven. And a reminder coming up, stay tuned for the Buick halftime report. We will find out how the Big Ten fared in some of those earlier games around the country. Right now it's Michigan State, champions of the conference, with a first down coming out from their own 41-yard line after another booming Ryan punt. They fake the end around, they come back with Langford, and he picks his way close to the 45-yard line.
And tough sledding for Langford in this running game in this first half, and we knew that it would be tough for them coming in, and they've done about as good a job as you can hope for mixing it up. It's almost like they're throwing to set up the run and hoping to get into the second half where Langford maybe become more of the offense. But right now it's really up to Connor Cook and these receivers making plays for Michigan State if they want to get points here before this first half ends.
Now, there are 4 receivers on the field, Herbie, right now for the Spartans after that gain, bringing up 2nd and 6, in trouble. Intercepted. Bad decision by Cook. 10-5, touchdown, you-know-who, Kevin Anderson, a homegrown product from Palo Alto, California. 40 yards on the pick 6, and the pressure was coming from the nickelback, Umanum.
And you know that Anderson, who dropped that interception, has to be so excited to get another opportunity to get his hands on the football, and this time comes up with it and gets the interception. The pressure led them. They knew they could get to him. This time they do, and Anderson's the beneficiary.
Williamson. Boink, but good.
They brought pressure from the outside. of Manham, who's the nickelback, is out here. Here is Anderson, who ends up coming up with the interception. Scove is right here, so they're going to have a lot of pressure. They're just trying to come after him. Omanum comes free, and because he gets free, nobody picks him up. This is how they confuse you on which way to slide the offensive line. Langford, the back, was lined up to the opposite side. You see, he picks up nobody as they try to set up a screen, but a perfect call by Derek Mason. The right time to bring the blitz from the right side, and Omanum comes free, and what a big play for the Cardinal here before the first half ends.
And Herbie, what great news for their fans. Kevin Anderson is only a junior. Scove and Trent Murphy are both fifth-year seniors. They're moving on. But it looks like they've got another outstanding linebacker coming along in number 48, Kevin Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson next year. A.J. Tarpley, a junior, an underrated player. Walters, they do such a good job in that position of producing young linebackers.
And again, Shelton will be forced to take a knee. It'll come out on the 25 as we go to Chris Fowler.
Andre Williams, Boston College senior running back, is a nominee for the AT&T All-America Player of the Year. You can vote by visiting ESPNAllamerica.com, and the winner will be announced during the Vizio BCS National Championship, January 6th. Right back to you and Kirk.
Thank you, Chris.
Ran a big sequence of plays coming up right here for Michigan State after that pick 6, and now all of a sudden they find themselves down 10 points with 2:07 to go with 2 timeouts in the first half.
Connor Cook needs to shake off that decision that he just made and come right back. They've got him throwing the ball on first down, had difficulty, and it is incomplete, as it was good coverage on the running back. You know, one thing about Anderson, the young man who just scored the touchdown, he comes from a very bright family. He's got a brother who played football at Yale.
You find that sometimes with these guys from Stanford. Boy, he kept that play alive, and Jeremy Langford just dropped the football. Man, that's right into the hands. That's 8 yards on first down because Cook keeps the ball alive and puts it out there to Langford, who's pretty sure-handed. He just dropped the ball. I think he may have felt the pressure and looking up. They're rushing 3 and dropping 8. Tough to find open receivers when you got 8 in coverage.
Second down, over the middle, complete. And near midfield for a first down is Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit.
And when you do find a seam, it's tight. When you have 8 in coverage, you've got to take a chance, and Cook's got to get back there, make a quick read, and get the ball out of his hands. That's exactly what he did there.
After the 24-yard gain, Cook coming back again, incomplete and over the middle. Cook is 11 of 19 for 142 yards and a very costly pick 6.
Go back a couple plays ago where they found that seam. It was between the nickelback and the safety and even the linebacker. You see 8 guys back there settling in. They're just reading the quarterback's eyes, being familiar with the zone that they have to take advantage or take care of. And that time you found a receiver falling in between the 3 different defenders, and Cook put it right on the money.
1:45 remaining in the first half. Quick throw to Langford, got the edge, and he's got another first down for Michigan State and stops the clock at the 1:40 mark.
Yeah, that's acceleration right there. Jeremy Langford gets out there. Cook does a good job. He sees the blitz. Tarpley 17's coming. Boy, good job at dumping it out there quickly. And that time Langford secured the football, didn't worry about looking upfield. And boy, he really turned on the speed there to pick up that first down.
Price, the tight end, shuttles into play from the sideline. First down and 10 at the Stanford 40. Michigan State with a pair of timeouts. Touring far side, got one-on-one, and reaching forward at the 4-yard line is Benny Fowler. Great catch against Wayne Lyons.
This is just taking a chance. Just put the ball up in the air. You got one-on-one coverage. Put it up and hope that Fowler can make a catch and hope that Lyons doesn't find the football. Great effort here by Fowler. This is a group of receivers that struggled catching the football a year ago. They had 66 drops as a group. Early this year, they struggled with drops. How about that effort and the growth by Benny Fowler to extend, adjust the football, gets his hand under the point of the ball to keep it away from the ground. That is a big play for Michigan State.
Late defensive subs for Stanford. First down of 5 after the 37-yard strike by Cook. And there's a penalty flag before the handoff to Langford.
Delay game. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that makes this just a little bit tougher because it takes away that Langford run. They wanted him to go right to the corner like he did earlier in this game, and now they're backed up to the 8-yard line, and that makes trying to corner Langford just a touch easier. We're inside of a minute. The clock is running. Michigan State with 2 timeouts. Still first down and goal. Back, throws in, short of the end zone. They're going to have to burn one of their timeouts here. The ball is at about the 2-yard line. Tony Lippett, the receiver. And while we've got a timeout and Michigan State talks about it, let's remind you that tomorrow night on ESPN, Bob Stoops and the Sooners take on Nick Saban and the two-time defending national champion Crimson Tide. All-State Sugar Bowl, number 11. Oklahoma versus number 3 Alabama. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the young man who was second in the Heisman Trophy voting to Jameis Winston, and the two-time national champion, he'll be at the controls for the Crimson Tide, and you wonder how they're going to be emotionally. This is their first game since that pick kick against Auburn. Oh my goodness, that kick 6, I guess they're calling it down there in Alabama now. Oh, mercy.
One timeout left, 2nd and goal. Wouldn't be surprised to see Michigan State have a couple plays if they want to try to run the ball, maybe try to save the timeout so in case they don't get into the end zone on 3rd down, then they can use that timeout. Umpire letting Stanford make the adjustments.
So it's 2nd time and goal with Langford. The play fake. Cook rolling to the right. In trouble. There's a penalty flag. He throws it out of bounds, but there's a penalty flag in the end zone right now. So hang on here.
Like a Stanford player locked up with a Michigan State tight end. I think it was Trent Murphy. In the end zone, in fact.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Intentional grounding, offense number 18. The quarterback was outside the pocket. However, the ball did not reach the line of scrimmage. Holding, defense number 93. Those penalties all set. Replay 2nd down.
Oh, boy.
34 seconds remaining.
Cook does get outside of the pocket, but when you throw the ball away, it's got to get beyond the line of scrimmage, which is the black line. See, there's Anderson again working hard. I've also Lancaster in there, and right away the officials jumped on top of that. You could see them all over that call.
1 timeout in their pocket. Does D'Antonio want to run? He's got the fullback in front of Langford. No, they're going to throw out of it. Cook with plenty of time, can't find a receiver, and caught. Touchdown to fullback. Trevin Pendleton from Lucasville, Ohio, his 2nd big catch here of the first half, and the Spartans in business again.
Boy, Pendleton has had an active first half. Came into this game with 6 receptions on the entire year for 106 yards and a touchdown, and here involved in a couple big receptions, and this one for a touchdown.
Michael Geiger on for the extra point. His punter, Sadler, the holder. And what's really impressive about this is that Michigan State answered after a pick 6. They drove 7 plays, 75 yards for the touchdown.
And they get the ball to start the 2nd half. Something to keep in mind. Here he is right here. Surprising call. I thought they might get the ball into the hands of Langford, but this is what you want to keep an eye on right here. Watch the man who's covering him, Lancaster. He actually goes down, and now he starts to recover. Great recognition there by the quarterback to be able to see that Lancaster 35. Here's another good look at it. He slips, and all of a sudden the fullback's all alone. I actually think he's about to throw it away, and right before he did, he recognizes Lancaster down and Pendleton all alone, showing those soft hands for the big fullback.
And remember this. There are 28 seconds on the clock, and Stanford has the best kick return team in the nation. But will Michigan State even give Montgomery a chance? The deep men have moved up to about the 7-yard line, so they may not even let him touch it on this kickoff. Yuma does boot it away and deep for that end zone. Montgomery told to take a knee by his bodyguard, and we check in on what the Cardinal has accomplished here in the first half. Touchdown on their first drive, then that field goal, and of course offensively they haven't moved the ball that much, but the difference in this game is that pick six. Kevin Hogan brings the offense out. And it looks like they're going to be satisfied to take this lead on into the locker room at the intermission. That's exactly what they're going to do here. Up 17-14.
Pretty good first half in the 100th Rose Bowl.
Indeed.
Michigan State got back in. That was a great answer, as you said, and now they do get to football to start the second half.
A huge contingent of Michigan State fans here today. And let's go down now to Heather Cox.
Thanks so much, Coach. After jumping out to an early 10-0 lead, the offense held scoreless in the second quarter. What will you ask of your offense in the second half?
Well, you know, we got to stay away from the negative plays. 2 false start penalties and a couple of guys got beat up front. I mean, they're very good. We have to maintain our blocks and give our backs a chance to crease them.
We'll let you get to your team. Thanks. Let's head over to Tom.
Coach, down 10 twice in this first half, your biggest deficits of this season. What was your message to your team?
Well, we just got to catch fire. We got to play with a little bit more enthusiasm. You know, we've been in this situation before a little bit, you know, early on, but we've just got to have a little bit more presence.
Appreciate it. Good luck second half.
Thank you.
17-14. Stanford of the Pac-12 leading Michigan State of the Big Ten. We've come to the end of the first half here in Pasadena. Stay tuned right after these messages for the Buick Halftime Report on ESPN.
Welcome to the Buick Halftime Report.
Stanford's halftime lead is 17-14 in the 100th Rose Bowl game. The Spartans drawing closer on a late touchdown pass. We'll break it down in a second, but first, the Michigan State University Marching Band under the direction of John T. Madden. And welcome Chris Fowler, Desmond Howard, Lee Corso, and David Pollack. So it's a pass-heavy attack for Michigan State. Connor Cook throws for 198, Desmond, but in that last drive, bounces back from the catastrophic pick six that he had just thrown.
Yeah, that was a catastrophic pick six. He was trying to throw a screen pass under pressure. He just couldn't get his feet under him. Should have never thrown the ball. She just ate it and took the sack. But Stanford, they were very aggressive coming out to shoot. They hit Michael Rector on the deep pass. They tried to hit him on another one. He dropped the ball. Devin Conjuice dropped the ball. It seemed like they got away from being aggressive. I think they need to continue to be aggressive. They got the running game going somewhat, but they're going to have to balance it out with some more passes down the field.
If I was just looking at this game and I didn't know what the score was, I think Michigan State's played better. I think Michigan State's shown you that they can move the football. I'm surprised that their offensive line able to get pushed, but also they've been able to protect Cook, and he's been able to buy some time. If Stanford's going to win this ball game, I think Hogan has to be able to throw the ball down the field. They're not going to be able to line up and smash. We talked about they like to play smash mouth football. They're not going to line up and run it down down Michigan State's throat. They had the one big 47-yard run. Apart from that, it was nothing. They're challenging on the outside in man coverage. Hogan has to make plays on the outside.
If I'm the Michigan State coaches, I'd be sure to tell my team the score is really 14-10. They had a fluke touchdown against you guys. And I tell you what, the Michigan State got to protect pass protection. They all spent all the half on pass protection. The one pass that he had picked off was a blitz from the corner. So therefore, they got to watch that because Stanford is going to go to it and say that. So I work on my pass protection.
You give up that play. You fail to fall on a Hogan fumble that led to a Stanford field goal. That's a three-point mistake for Michigan State defense right there.
I was right in front of me.
Why didn't you get it, Coach?
Yardage.
David wants some money off of that.
Well, here's Kevin Anderson, the Palo Alto homegrown linebacker for the Cardinals, but the Spartans able to bounce back.
This is the Buick Halftime Report. This halftime report is presented by the new luxuriously innovative LaCrosse from Buick.
Identical halftime score to last year's Rose Bowl game. The Cardinal then dominated Wisconsin in the second half and won it 20-14. Statistical edge for the Spartans, but the Cardinal the edge on the scoreboard. Now the Leland Stanford Junior University marching band with drum major Anna Lisa Lockhart.
Well, here it is. The hot new trend of 2014 is going to be secret texts. The perfect blend of Snapchat and Twitter. It allows you to send messages to your friends visible for milliseconds, leaving them with only a vague idea of what you were trying to say.
Unlike any marching band on the planet, contrasting styles of the two bands as well.
Welcome back to the 2014 Rose Bowl game, presented by Vizio on ESPN.
I can see the finish line with each line that I finish. I'm so close to my goals, I can almost pole over the goalpost. And if I don't got enough in the tank, maybe I can just siphon enough to fill up this last can. Man, will I survive in this climate or what? They said I was washed up and got a bloodbath. I'm not a rapper, I'm an adapter. I can adjust.
Brent Musburger back with Kirk Herbstreit down on the field. Heather Cox and Tom Rinaldi. And we had an outstanding first half as Michigan State scored a touchdown after a pick six. And we will start the second half 17-14. And you couldn't ask for anything more than this. I mean, Michigan State has put Stanford under the gun here late.
Without a doubt, and what an amazing job of coming back after we talked at the halftime break. Connor Cook had the interception, poor decision, comes right back and makes a big play. And if you look at the Home Depot coaching adjustment for Michigan State. It's what a great job Connor Cook's done at putting the ball into the hole. Hasn't always had time to throw. He's been in the pocket, feels the pressure. Look at the receiver. He's not quite there. He throws the receiver to where he needs to be, and then they make a big play in a pass game. Then, when he doesn't have an open receiver, looks like he's going to have to throw the ball away. He ends up throwing it to Pendleton for a touchdown, let the play develop, and eventually came up with it. And if Michigan State's going to win this game, Connor Cook's going to have to continue to make some plays in a pass game to give the Spartans a victory.
Let's check it down below with Heather.
Well, guys, I was with the Stanford team coming out of the locker room. There was some concern about players slipping, so they were going to change to longer cleats in the locker room. They ultimately decided not to. As for what happened in the locker room, David Shaw's message was simple. Don't act like you don't have the lead. That's all he said. Then it was the coordinators, mostly the defensive coordinators, talking about the need to pressure the quarterback a little bit and that the linemen and the linebackers have to be more aggressive. They were upset that they let a couple of seam routes go, that the linemen weren't pressuring and reacting too much to the zone.
And again, the kickoff sails back into the end zone. Both kicking games have been very strong here today as we bring out Connor Cook. And folks, he has the best number. That's right. He's thrown for 198 yards. Now forget that pick six for just a moment. He's thrown for 198 and Hogan for only 66, Herbie.
Yeah, it's because Michigan State has not been able to run the football at all. It's been tough sledding up front, and because of that, Connor Cook, he knew coming in he's going to have to sling it around and make plays and try to avoid mistakes. And in this second half, whichever quarterback makes a play and avoids a disastrous play is going to be the team that walks out of here with a win.
Jeremy Langford is again the running back. They'll run play action and throw to the near side and incomplete. On that first down, Alex Carter, the defensive back, with coverage for the Cardinal, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 from the 25.
Pretty good effort there by Benny Fowler, who made a big catch at the end of the first half. Ball's thrown low and away where he's got a shot, and not only great effort by Fowler, but by Alex Carter getting his right hand in there to be able to separate the football from the receiver.
Both Fowler and King will go to the left side of this offensive formation. Lippett will come down below. From the gun, they're going to keep it airborne. Complete. Foot race now. The 30, 25. Benny Fowler to the 14-yard line. And remember that 43-yard grab he made to set up that big touchdown. And what a run after the catch here.
And what a great job up front of picking up the pressure. They bring a blitz here and here, and a good job by Langford stepping up and doing his job. And this is what Michigan State needed, the wide receivers to get separation, be able to make a play. They knew they could attack Stanford through the air, and this is a big-time play by Benny Fowler. Comes back to the football, and then he pulls away from that Stanford secondary, almost takes it to the end zone.
So Michigan State threatening to go ahead here for the first time on the opening drive. They fake the end around. Cook in trouble, and he'll go down at the 19-yard line, sacked by Henry Anderson, the senior from Atlanta.
There are a lot of different bodies coming out there. It's easy to look up here and say, boy, he had this receiver open or that receiver open, but you know, he was hoping that they would bite on the reverse. See how slow he is and deliberate he is on the fake. Unfortunately, Wayne Lyons was not buying it. The corner was on the blitz, got the pressure, and forced Cook to have to step up. He didn't have anybody to get the ball to there.
Andre Sims, number 21, has checked in for Michigan State. Cook looks in his direction, comes back now to the far side, and pushed out of bounds at the 9 is Jamal Lyles, the tight end, his first catch of the game.
You know, you get down into the red zone, and you've got to maintain an aggressive mentality. You've got to continue to fight, which Michigan State is trying to do. You don't know how many times you're going to get into the red zone, and between these two offenses, when you do get down into this precious territory, you need to try to maximize it by getting touchdowns and not settling for field goals.
Fowler and King are in, along with Lippett as the wide receivers. It's a 3rd down and 9 from the Stanford 14-yard line. Cook on a slant and incomplete. The target was defended by Alex Carter that time, number 25. Outstanding job from the sophomore from Ashburn, Virginia.
It's twice we've seen Carter on this drive involved in trying to get Benny Fowler away from the football. Boy, good effort by Fowler to try to hold on to it between the ground and the right hand of Carter trying to pull it out of there, but he does eventually get the ball away.
Here's Michael Geiger. And on the season, this freshman from Toledo, Ohio, is 14 of 15. This is a 32-yarder for the tie, and it's from the left hash. Dead on again. An impressive freshman. And we start all over again in the 100th Rose Bowl game. It's Stanford, Michigan State, deadlock.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
We welcome you back to Pasadena and the Rose Bowl. And for Michigan State fans, the last team to win after Trent at the half, Barry Alvarez, coach Wisconsin, defeating Stanford 17-9. But folks, since then, the Big Ten has lost 9 of the 10 games they've played here in the Rose Bowl. Back into the end zone. Here comes Ty Montgomery. 50. Spins at the 21-yard line. And Kevin Hogan will put it in play there.
You go back to the first half for Stanford's offense. They knew coming in Michigan State would put 9 up close to the line of scrimmage. It's the first drive. They took a shot deep downfield and hit Michael Rector for a big play that eventually led to a big running game here with Gaffney to finish off that opening drive. A double team. He bounces off of Isaiah Lewis and into the end zone. But that was their only offensive touchdown that we've seen so far in this football game. And because of that, I think you're going to see Kevin Hogan start to take more chances, trying to make some plays in one-on-one coverage on the outside to try to make some bigger plays in the pass game.
Ellsworth opens the game as the Mike linebacker here in the second half. He and Harris alternated throughout the first half. Hogan is under center on first down. Gaffney on a little bit of a cutback, and he's out to the 23 with Jones making the stop.
Stanford has faced 8- and 9-man fronts all year long. The difference between this 9-man front is the way the linebackers, minus Max Bola, but the way they still come downhill. At the snap of the football, you'll see them, they're not waiting and reading the play and reading their keys. They're attacking downhill and taking the fight to the offensive lineman. It makes it much tougher to run their power scheme against that kind of defensive pressure.
Wilkerson. Play fake to him as the running back. Throw high. Hewitt snaps it down, the fullback. And that was well set up as the coaching staff had seen how Michigan State was not defending Ryan Hewitt, the fifth-year senior from Denver, and they go to him.
And sometimes when you bring pressure, this is the answer. You see the linebacker, he's supposed to be out there being able to make a play in man coverage. It forces Ellsworth, the middle linebacker, to climb all the way out there. Basically, Michigan State is begging you to try to prove that you can execute your passing game against their scheme. They don't believe you can do it, and that's what Stanford's going to have to prove they can at some point in this second half.
So here is Gaffney back in as the running back, and now he's a protector for Hogan. Hogan going to go deep. And a reaching catch, but an interception by Waynes. Oh, my. What a play by Trey Waynes from Kenosha, Wisconsin. He took it away from Rector.
You see why they have such confidence? You see why they play press man coverage? They have such confidence in Waynes on one side, Denard on the other. They beg you to take these chances. The ball actually goes through the hands of Michael Rector. It looked like he had both hands on the football. He goes up, high points the ball. It goes through his hands, and Waynes just takes it away from him for the big turnover.
And Hogan was trying to fly in that no-fly zone of the Michigan State Spartans. And as a result of that interception, the Spartans will have a first down coming out from their own 21-yard line. Langford picks his daylight off to the left side to the 30-yard line. We mentioned the no-fly zone, and that, of course, is what the defensive backs at Michigan State call themselves, and that is the tower off there to the right of the background from Detroit Metropolitan Airport. And you can see the number of picks, and they are a tough, tough group.
They think, okay, between our pressure and our ability to play man coverage, you're not going to get the ball thrown downfield. In fact, teams have only converted 23 pass attempts against them.
2nd and 3, and here is Langford trying to get the first down. Stanford trying to hold on.
This is such a great look, and they knew that they'd have to take some shots. Rector in the slot, hoping he'd get one-on-one against the safety. That's the matchup that they wanted. Instead, Waynes slips back. The ball actually gets right into the hands of Rector, but he lets it slip through his hands, and Waynes is there to make that play.
3rd down and short now, and that power look. And a timeout is going to be called.
Michigan State takes its first time out of the half. Media.
So D'Antonio will talk it over with the quarterback about that timeout, and we'll come right back.
The 2014 Rose Bowl game is presented by the ultra-intuitive M-Series Smart TV from Vizio. It's beautifully simple. And in part by the Discover It card. It's a game changer. Allstate. Are you in good hands? And Tostitos Chips and Dips. Bring the party.
Some of the golden years, 1966 to 1989. Woody Hayes, Bob Greasy, some of the greatest names in the history of this sport came to the Rose Bowl. And today, we celebrate the 100th playing of this grand game. And it's only fitting that we got a game deadlocked at 17 here with 10:24 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's Michigan State, Big Ten, Stanford, Pac-12. Cook keeps it. Scove sort of read that and then jumped back, and there is a penalty flag.
If Scove doesn't get caught for that, he baited the right guard into jumping. He's done this all year. He times up his blitzes and anticipates the snap count better than any linebacker in the country.
Offside.
They got him this time.
Defense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Yardage results in a first down.
Good call by DeFee. Watch number 11 now on this play. Watch him move up into that gap. Jump across. And he definitely was offside. This crew's done an excellent job so far.
They sure have. They got him. They got him that time. But I tell you, 3rd and inches like that, why not take a chance by Shane Scove?
First down and 10. Power I formation for the Spartans. Play action off of it. They continue to throw on first down. Cook has to throw this one away. 2nd down and 10 because pressure was coming from number 11, Shane Scove.
Let's take a look at today's All-State.
Looks like he's a little shaken up.
Yeah, that's not. We've got to keep him out on the field. He's going to take a play off. Take a look at today's All-State good hands play, and it's Benny Fowler into the first half. Adjustment back to the football. Hands helping him push Lyons there, but it's the hands of the catch by Benny Fowler. And this also a nice play here to start this second half. Not only the nice hands, but the speed to be able to pull away from that Stanford defense. Benny Fowler having a nice game so far.
2nd down and 10. Here comes Cook, moving the pocket to the right. Shakes the nickel back and almost intercepted. Almost picked off by Lyons.
Just about to say that Connor Cook is playing a great game, but he's got to be careful of just letting off of the accelerator and trying to force a play. He throws it backside. The ball sails on him. I thought Ed Reynolds might get his hands on the football. You throw back into the middle of the defense like that. The ball's in the air forever. Cannot believe that's a 2nd interception that Stanford has let slip right through their hands. Earlier it was Kevin Anderson, and that time it's Wayne Lyons.
So Scove checks back into the game after missing that last play, and it'll be 3rd down and 10. And Cook, this one is intercepted, and there's a penalty flag. It was picked off by Jordan Richards at the 50-yard line. The back judge fired the penalty flag.
He threw it right where the interception occurred. Tarpley's talking about the ball being tipped at the line of scrimmage by Henry Anderson, 91.
holding. Defense, number 25. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And in defensive holding, it does not matter if the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. He's upset about that, but if it's pass interference and if the ball is tipped, it would be called off. But defensive holding, it is not called off.
And that was holding.
Yeah, they threw it right there.
I know the coach is upset about that, but that was
right
defensive holding.
Yeah, it's right there on Carter, 25. Right call, and it's a third down call, and Michigan State gets a first down.
At the 47-yard line. Fowler back on the field. He just motioned through to the left side. He'll come back. Fake the end around with him. Give it to Langford. That caused the linebackers to hesitate just a second. David Perry at the defensive line made the stop, but not before Michigan State reached the Stanford 48-yard line.
That was one of the few creases we've seen, and Michigan State's going to go hurry up here.
And they'll come back with Langford. Could not get the first down on that hurry-up play, and it'll be third down as Morrow makes the stop for the Cardinal.
Trying to take some of the pressure of those obvious passing situations when Stanford knows what's coming, and they've been trying to do this, Brent, throughout the game, sprinkling in just enough of Jeremy Langford. He now has 13 carries, only 48 yards on this game.
Kings checks back in. Fowler trots off. And now Stanford substitutes a couple of defensive players. So here's your third down and 3. Fullback is set in front of Langford. They're going to throw out of it. Man covered, going to go deep. Kings reaches up, incomplete at the 10-yard line, and it'll be fourth down. Now this is a spot where D'Antonio might think about a fake punt. We'll see about that.
Yeah, earlier they threw the ball up in the air and Benny Fowler adjusted. Wayne Lyons struggled to find the ball. This time Carter does a much better job of turning around at the right time, feeling and sensing between the eyes of Kings and the hands. Does a good job of getting his eyes back, getting in position where Kings had no chance there on that third down.
The conservative call all the way, and the Gunners are spread out, is to go ahead and punt this and play field position. D'Antonio sometimes will surprise you, but not this time. Fair catch is signaled and made at the 7-yard line. So the field position decision is the right one for D'Antonio. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Well, we have some Stanford and Michigan State alums. There's John McEnroe, who went to Stanford, of course. Was a singles champion back in the 70s. A year later, this is Magic Johnson, who led the Spartans to an NCAA basketball championship. Now, of course, part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Led the Los Angeles Lakers to 5. Fumble by Gaffney and picked it back up. Saved the day, the baseball player did, as he put it on the ground. And Gaffney has been, for the most part, bottled up. He's now got 80 yards on 13 carries.
Look at these linebackers. They're not just blitzing. That's what they do when they read run. They just come downhill. There's actually a nice seam there to the left where Gaffney was trying to follow Ryan Hewitt. The linebackers continue to pressure the running game. The corners trying to hold up on islands against the passing game. Makes it tough on these offenses facing this defense.
Second down and long now for the Cardinal. They'll run Gaffney again. You know, when you watch Gaffney, let's go to the Michigan State side and let me talk about a couple of alums over there who were outstanding baseball players. How about Steve Garvey and Kirk Gibson? And Gibson still holds the record at Michigan State for yards per catch. So you talk about some athletes who have come out of these two schools, and yet Steve Garvey did play football with the Spartans before he switched to baseball.
Another third down here for the Stanford offense, deep in their own territory.
Kevin Hogan will take it back in the gun. Wilkerson is there as one of the protectors. From the end zone, deep middle, got it! Devon Kajust makes A great catch, and who knows, folks, this could turn this football game around.
He's going to come from the right, and he's going to just split the middle of this defense. Michigan State shows pressure. They bring it, but it's one-on-one right down the middle. We talked about Stanford attacking the safeties in one-on-one coverage. They wait for a crucial third down here. Kajus did it in the Pac-12 championship game, gets separation from the safety, pulls away from Isaiah Lewis, and how about the accuracy of Hogan downfield?
51 yards on that play. Now they bring Young on that end around, number 39, former running back, and there's a penalty flag. He's still moving. He crosses the 30-yard line, but there are 2 flags on this play, so hold on. They lined up Gaffney and the Wildcat, and they brought Kelsey Young around.
Holding offense, number 73 and number 98. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And that's Cameron Fleming, the right tackle.
Devin Kajus making that big play. This is something he works on even in the pregame. He knows he's going to get some opportunities in one-on-one, and boy, he is healthy now and just such a great weapon as a slot receiver with his size at 6'4", 228 pounds.
Buddy looked like he was right off the set of Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
All right, here we go now. First down and long. Quick pitch to Montgomery on the outside, trying to get the edge, and he is pushed out of bounds by Waynes. Waynes did a good job. Had Montgomery got around him, there was a lot of green in front of him. And I don't mean the Spartan uniforms.
No, a lot of room to work, but he did a nice job of getting off the receiver blocks. And David Shaw telling us this week in practice that Ohio State had 3 or 4 chances to hit some big plays downfield, and they missed them. And he said, if we get our chances and we miss them, we're going to lose the game. We've got to hit some big plays downfield.
Second down and 16. Gaffney is jammed on the right side, and it's going to be third down and long. Clemens hitting first. Let's check in with Heather.
You talk about Kevin Hogan. Well, he's 10-0 against ranked teams. I talked to him yesterday about his calm demeanor. He said he doesn't try any harder in the big game. And Shaw said that Hogan is actually more calm on the field than his predecessor, Andrew Luck, especially when the game's on the line, adding he gets to the right calls, has the right adjustments when all the pressure's on him. We'll see if he can move that mark to 11-0 today.
So it is third and long again, and that means Wilkerson will check in for his pass blocking ability. Hogan's going to take it. Couldn't find an open receiver. Now he will take off. 40. Short of the first down. Now here's a decision for David Shaw. The ball will be spotted on the 36-yard line, and he needs to reach the 33 for a first down. He's getting that information. Called down from the booth up above. Once he's leaving his offense right there for the time being here now on this fourth down. Wilkerson will leave and Gaffney will check back in. Gaffney has rushed for 79 yards and 1 touchdown here today.
Brent, I think he's just going to let this clock go down and call a timeout. He's standing right next to an official.
That's exactly what they're going to do here. So while Stanford talks about it, we'll take a break and come right back with 4th and 4 for the Cardinal. San Gabriel's and the sun setting here in Los Angeles, Pasadena, where we are, just a little after 4:30 Pacific time. Ah, yes, one of everybody's favorite bands, the Stanford Band. So this is closer to 4th and 3 than 4th and 4. So here we go. Hogan's got Gaffney alongside. The offensive line wants to quickly check with him. The Spartans put 4 defensive linemen down, and they eat Gaffney up. Michigan State football. That was Denikos Allen making another big play, just as he did against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, Brent, I was just going to bring that up. You go back to the Big Ten championship game. There was a crucial point in that game. It was 4th and 2. The Ohio State moving the ball to Michigan State 39. Danico Allen fought through a block of a tight end, stops Ohio State, and Braxton Miller short, secures the victory. This time, not much of a chance at all. The leader of this defense, who would step up with Max Bulla out for this game, the leading tackler in this senior, Danico Allen, the partner of Max Bulla, steps up yet again for the Spartans defense.
Connor Cook back under center. He's 17 of 30 for 263 yards, touchdown and interception. The Spartans have been throwing on first down, and now they come back with the run with Langford to daylight. So the Cardinal adjusted, looking for the pass, and Langford busted for 9 yards before Reynolds, the safety, stops him.
Yeah, I think a big part of this game plan is to be able to soften him up. Watch 37, by the way. Nice block on A.J. Tarpley. Boy, penalty, he has been busy.
Tempo, Langford, first down. Getting to the second level. He crosses the 45-yard line. And now the play calling by Jim Bowman and Dave Warner, keeping the Cardinal off balance.
Yeah, they are much more physical the last couple times they've had the football. You're seeing more of Jeremy Langford now, and it's more of kind of what you're used to, accustomed to seeing from the Michigan State attack. But they've had to work hard in the passing game with formations to get it to that point.
Lippett goes off to the left side. Two wide receivers are to the right. Langford behind the left side of his offensive line. And again, they're beating the defensive line right now. And A.J. Tarpley finally able to bring him down. Blake Treadwell and Jack Conklin over on the left side. And Treadwell's from East Lansing. And Conklin's from Michigan. And they come right to the line on second down. And here comes Langford. Angley got the first down in the edge.
Yeah, right now you're seeing Langford run with a whole different mentality, and it starts, as you said, with the offensive line. Listen, left tackle's a freshman, by the way. Conklin's doing a heck of a job there. The receiver that time, Lippett, helping out, and they're back to the line of scrimmage. They're kind of sensing Stanford on their heels.
They have come to the tempo game. Play action. Firing complete to Kings, and he's hit right away. And that was Hoffpower who made that tackle over there for the Cardinal. And the ball will be spotted at about the 23-yard line for this second down.
A lot of different bodies being rotated in by Stanford to try to stay fresh.
Direct snap underneath to Langford. Langford daylight, first down, crosses the 15-yard line.
You see A.J. Tarpley raising his hands there at the end of that play. Tarpley kind of raising his arms up in the air as if he's wanting to get the call in quicker. He was confused. He's supposed to be out in the flat. He's supposed to be taking away Langford. And at the end of that play, he kind of raised his arms in frustration. Stanford, it's very uncharacteristic to see them becoming unglued a bit defensively here.
The Spartans substitute 4 players for this first down from the 13-yard line. Power with Langford, and again, fumble! Cardinal pounces down on it. Let's see. They've got it. Langford fumbles, and Stanford recovers. The second Michigan State turnover of this game.
Brent, Shane Skov got his hand on the football. The leader of this team, he has been blitzing quite a bit. 11 gets his hand right there on the football, jars it loose. Richards is there, and Morrow ends up coming up with the recovery. But the leader, once again, Shane Skov, comes up with a play for this Stanford defense. I think that had been about the only thing that could have slowed down Michigan State on that drive. They were moving the football right down the field, deep into Stanford territory, and then they turn it over, their first turnover of the night.
And so now Hogan and the Cardinal will go to work. Gaffney set behind the fullback. Picks his way over around that right side.
With Skov doing everything he can. I mentioned they had a lot of different bodies rotated in there. Michigan State, look at that push that they're getting. I mean, that's a great gain there on first down. But the effort to not give up on the play, to jar that football loose and get the ball back to Kevin Hogan in the offense. It's the 4th time that Stanford has started a drive inside their own 15-yard line.
Second down. Gaffney cuts off the stretch play. Going to get swallowed in the shadow of the end zone. Gave up yards when he cut back. Reynolds and Lewis got there for the Spartans.
And Brent, you know this. They are relentless in their approach. Look at them. They're attacking. Ellsworth firing through. Danico Sallin. You think you can get the cutback? There's the backside safety to the field, taking that away. Remember I said they want to beg you to throw the football, challenge you to see if you can execute your passing game against one-on-one coverage. Such confidence in those corners out on an island. Turns the other 9 loose against the run game. Makes it very tough to run the football against the Spartans.
Third down and 14. Gaffney. And he makes it to the 6-yard line. Stanford forced to punt again. Jones makes the stop.
All we heard about is how would Michigan State and Pat Narduzzi do without their leader, Max Bulla. They came across to us very confident in the system. They're sure they'd miss Max Bulla. 40 straight starts, the leader of this defense. So far through now through 3 quarters, what an amazing effort in their preparation and the way they've executed against this Stanford offense.
So Stanford will be punting when we start the 4th quarter, and the Spartans will be looking for great field position. Scove saved the day, but only for 3 downs. Into the 3rd quarter. We'll be back after these messages. You're watching the Rose Bowl game, presented by Vizio on ESPN. Welcome back to the 2014 Rose Bowl game, presented by Vizio on ESPN. Stanford's Ben Ryan. He's had a terrific day punting. Backed up in their own end zone here to start the 4th quarter. And Kings got a return. Left alley. Out of bounds. Great field position. Best starting field position of the game coming up here for the Spartans.
Then the game clearly feels that the momentum has swung in favor of Michigan State here in this second half. Kings does a great job this time of recognizing the short punt, not calling the fair catch, being able to find that initial seam and then accelerating downfield and getting as many yards as he can.
Fowler will be the wide receiver to the right. They'll have him one-on-one. He's made 2 terrific catches in this game so far. Cook under center. Langford, after the turnover, will get the first carry, and he is stopped for a loss by Morrow. Let's check in down below with Tom Ronaldo.
Brent, all week, Coach Antonio talking about how his team would respond to adversity. Interesting to see Langford come off after that fumble inside the red zone. Apologize to every offensive lineman and his quarterback.
A penalty flag is thrown. They want to set a flanker screen to the right.
False start. Offense, number 94. The player never got set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Cook and Michigan State are starting to go hurry up more and more here. And one thing that Cook has to be aware of is making sure, of course, you got to go hurry up. You got to get your guys lined up there because you cannot afford in a game like this to give up 5 yards.
And that was Michael Dennis, and he's jumbo. He's the 300-pound blocking tight end on that play. So they certainly were not going to use him as a receiver. The ball now is at the 34-yard line. Cook checks over to the right side before the snap. Now he looks back to the left, comes in underneath with the completion, and out of bounds at the 25-yard line is Price, number 82. He's out of Greenstown, Indiana, tight end.
Time Connor Cook looked to his right, saw a man up coming, he just gave it a little bit of a look, saw the nickel back coming on the blitz, right away knew he needed to almost abort the drop, get it out there to Price as fast as he could, threw away from the blitz that time and picked up some pretty good yards.
Third down for the Spartans. Cook. Nickel blitzer picked up. Touchdown! Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit, against the blitz. rifles a touchdown pass to Lippett. Another third down strike for Connor Cook.
They're going to make sure that his right knee did not touch. I thought he got in. Well, he's reaching across. He touches, but I think the ball is across. Breaks the plane for the touchdown. Stayed on top of Lyons. By the time he touched down, it looked like he was across and looked like a touchdown to me.
Michael Geiger tacks on the extra point. Folks, we got an underdog howling in Pasadena right now. The maligned Big Ten with a chance to win the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game. And if Cook keeps up throws like that, they will come away with a win. Right on the money to Lippett. So Lippett puts the Spartans ahead for the first time in the fourth quarter with 13:22 to go. Yuma will kick it away. Here's Montgomery from the 4. Got great speed if he can get a lane. And he's out to the 31-yard line.
Brett, you go back to this touchdown. It's third down, and Stanford's going to bring pressure over here. Manum and also Scove coming here. What's interesting is Ed Reynolds moves to the middle of the field, and that creates an opening and a seam in this defense. But I think the eyes of the quarterback, Connor Cook, moved Ed Reynolds over to the middle, and that's what created an even larger seam there. See his eyes? His eyes looking off to the right. Ed Reynolds jumped on that. You could see his helmet there flash and opened up a big throwing lane there on third down, and Lippett took advantage of it.
Ty Montgomery is down at the 30-yard line. He has not gotten up since returning the kickoff, and he's being tended to now by the Stanford medical staff. He is by far their most dangerous wide receiver. He's caught 3 balls, but for only 21 yards here today. But on the season, he's caught over 60 passes for almost 1,000 yards. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. Now, let's hope that he's going to be okay.
The 2014 Rose Bowl game is brought to you by Nissan and the all-new Rogue. Nissan, innovation that excites. Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Mas. AT&T, rethink possible. And the new Surface. Follow at ESPN CFB for all bowl instant replays.
Rose Bowl photos from 1990 to 2013. David Boston into the end zone for the Buckeyes of Ohio State on that last drive against Jake Plummer and Arizona State. First down and 10 coming up now for Hogan and the Cardinal. They go jumbo in that backfield. Gaffney, hole on the right side, breaks a tackle, and he's out to the 34-yard line.
Well, they have struggled since the first quarter moving the football against this Michigan State defense. This is in the second half. They see that it's going to be a Wildcat, completely leave Ty Montgomery alone, attacking downhill against this Stanford offense. The linebackers, Ellsworth, Danico Salen, look at him coming downhill, eventually leading to a fumble. Ellsworth and Danico Salen, it's not a blitz. They're just attacking against this run game, and it's put Stanford in a jam offensively.
Come back with Gaffney on second down and 5, and they pick up a couple more.
First quarter, they were moving the football. In fact, the first drive, their only offensive touchdown. But you can see how many plays they had in the first quarter. Things were looking like typical Stanford. 146 yards, 9 yards of play. They had 10 points. And since then, look at that. Second, third, and now into the fourth quarter, they have not been able to do anything offensively.
Third down and 3. Hogan has the play from Coach Shaw. Roll the pocket to the right and throw incomplete. And it is fourth down. And when it is 4th and 3 against this defense, you would expect the punt team, and here it comes.
That is a tough ask by Whitfield and Hogan. He puts it out in front. Would have been a great catch by Cody Whitfield to be able to hold on to that. It looked very in slow motion. It looked much simpler than if you look at it in real time. But that's tight coverage there by Denard, the Jim Thorpe Award winner.
Ben Ryan. He's the punter. Kings back deep for the Spartans. Got a return from the 16 and no further than the 20. So we'll take a break. It'll be Spartan football when you come back. Sparty 12:03 away from a Rose Bowl triumph. 95,173 in Pasadena watching the 100th Rose Bowl game. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. And there you see the coach's trophy. That'll be awarded Monday night to the winner of the national championship game between #1 Florida State and #2 Auburn. So here we go. First down and 10. Sparty would love to eat up a little clock. And on the end around, Kings.
Ty Montgomery being patted on the back quite a bit. This was that kickoff return where he went down, was helped off, was looked at while Stanford had the football. And since then, the doctors have checked him out. A lot of players kind of patting him on the back, indicating to me it looks like he's done for the game.
You know, let's talk about Mark D'Antonio, because some of you have read or heard rumors about the Texas Longhorns being interested, and why wouldn't they be when you think of the job that he has done up there in East Lansing? But for all the world, he seems very, very happy to be head coach of the Spartans. He and the athletic director are extremely close. He is certainly due a nice raise, which he will get. But folks, here's something you might not know. He does not have an agent. That's right. I talked to Mark D'Antonio yesterday, and he said, tell him to call my wife. Isn't that everybody's agent? So here we go now. Connor Cook firing, grabbed at the 40-yard line by Keith Mumphrey. Mumphrey's first catch of the day. He's from Vienna, Georgia, folks.
I'll tell you what, Mumphrey, a great play, and he comes back to the ball, does a nice job. But this is about Connor Cook to me tonight. This kid knew that he wasn't going to get a ton of help from the running game. The ball was going to be in his hands. This guy's coming off the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, where he threw for over 300 yards, was the game MVP. He comes up against one of the best defenses in the Rose Bowl. They have 3 weeks to get ready. He has played masterfully so far in this football game.
And here comes Langford on first down. And Irby, just to follow up on what you said, what's really impressive is he made the worst decision of the game when he threw that up for grabs, and it wound up being a pick six, and he came right back on the field. And for the game, Herbie, he's thrown the ball 35 times, 22 of 35 for 332, 2 touchdowns and that 1 pick six.
Kind of symbolic of his year, where he struggled. They sat him down against Notre Dame. He didn't get a chance to try to win that game. Instead of getting down, he fought back, ended up with a great conference play from Iowa all the way out, became the leader of this team. Very fitting that he's in this game and playing the way he is tonight.
Well, there is a Bulla on the field. It's Riley Bulla, and he's the fullback for Langford. And so the younger Bulla is here with us today, and I'm sure his older brother is watching this game. And when Michigan State arrived in Southern California, many of the seniors on that defense who were close to Max Bulla received a text message from Max. This game is not about me not being there. Take care of business. You know why we wanted to get to the Rose Bowl. So Max Bulla very much behind this defensive team, even though he's not here today. Third down now coming up. Connor Cook in trouble, sacked. Back at the 33-yard line. Trent Murphy there, Herbie.
Trent Murphy, who leads the nation in sacks, does a good job of working around Donovan Clark, a sophomore who is in right now for Conklin. Works around, also has to get through Jeremy Langford. It's one of the first times we've seen Murphy get all the way home. He's come close, and this time because of the coverage downfield, they give him time to get home. And Murphy's had just a huge year this year for Stanford.
That's a 4th sack of Cook. That is Barry Sanders back deep. the son of one of the greatest I ever watched. Line drive. Sanders will run up on the big hop and then wisely stay away from it. Good decision by the young man who's got a couple of years to mature into the top back with the Stanford Cardinal. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio on ESPN. Happy New Year, everybody. 9 minutes left in a very, very well-played Rose Bowl game. Stanford led early, now trails Michigan State. Stanford with the 1st and 10. Play action, Hogan, and they bring the end around, and a leveling block in the backfield. Rector with speed, the ball carrier crosses midfield, but I'm telling you, what a block in the backfield by Hewitt. He leveled the defender and set up this 27-yard gain.
And Michael Rector kind of sets this up, Brent, with a little hesitation move to give him the angle right there to lay him out. And then look at the white jerseys setting up a convoy down the right sideline. But, Brent, when you have a fast-flowing defense, misdirection, reverses, great block by Hewitt. That's a good call, and it's almost like David Shaw and Mike Bloomgren have waited for the right time to call that play.
That was a decleater on that block by Hewitt. Leading Gaffney now. It is hard going against this Spartan front, even without Max Bulla. Kyler Ellsworth and Darian Harris have held down the fort at that middle linebacking spot. D'Antonio, he was confident that these two fellas could do it physically, and so far they have.
Sure have, and it's just the DNA of their offense. Even though they have struggled, it's like running into a wall at times. They continue to go back to that power play, the backside guard pulling around, the fullback leading through. There's just not a lot of room so far for Tyler Gaffney to work at, other than that first drive.
2nd down and 8. Play action again from Hogan. Has time. Fires deep. And there's a penalty. A penalty flag has been thrown. I believe Denard was the defensive back. Yes, the winner of the Jim Thorpe. Darquez Denard was with Devin Kajust. Kajust can surprise you. He had ACL surgery, but he has not lost his speed.
Holding. Defense, number 31. 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Kajus 6'4", about 230 pounds, matched up against Denard. This is a great matchup, and watch him work to the outside to set up the move back to the middle, and there's no question about it. Denard was physical, but once he tries to pull away, Kajus, see him setting it up, then he pulls away, but you couldn't see the left hand grabbed onto the jersey of Kajus.
And we go to the Wildcat again for the 3rd time in this game. Gaffney will keep it. Tries to squeeze in behind the tight end and the tackle there, and a pretty decent gain as he crosses the 30-yard line on this 1st down. So they showed the Wildcat as a change of pace. They did it, folks, even when Andrew Luck was the quarterback. So for Coach David Shaw, that's just simply part of his offense. And don't you dare second guess him on it. Experience, folks, a great teacher. 2nd down now. Young flashes through, and Hogan able to fire it off that time.
Hewitt fell. I mean, they're trying to set up a tight end screen here. Get the ball to Hewitt. Trying to mess with the eyes of the defense by running Kelsey Young. Anytime you see 39 going in motion, you're thinking about a jet sweep. They're trying to freeze the linebackers and safeties and then just dump it to 85. He just slipped and lost his balance.
3rd down and 7. Hogan keeps it, dives for that 1st down. Great effort by the quarterback that time. Williamson coming up, and you can see that side judge coming down, and that would give them a 1st and 10. Excellent running effort by Hogan.
Now, an interesting spot here. That's a read by the quarterback, Hogan. He's reading it. There's a lot of green jerseys in there. Well, he seemed to land right at the line, or maybe a bit short, but they give him the benefit of the doubt there and give him the 1st down. Gaffney back in.
from the 23. Gaffney behind Hewitt again. And he's close to that 20-yard line with Drummond hanging on.
They want to always try to outflank you. They try to get to the outside. They have not been able to do that tonight at all because of the way the safeties have come down in run support. Even a corner, you see Denard up in there. Drummond eventually the last man there, the last man standing to be able to hold him before he bounced it to the outside and would have picked up some big yards.
6 minutes remaining. Second down. Play action and sacked back at the 29-yard line by Denzel Drone got to him.
Pat Narduzzi will take chances. There's no doubt about it. Drone is over here. You also have a blitz coming from here. They're taking a chance and guessing that he may try to roll out. It's exactly what they do. And Drone, the senior, does a great job of bringing that pressure, anticipating that bootleg, which Stanford does a lot. And you see Pat Narduzzi has worked his way from the press box down to the sideline, as he often does for Michigan State's defense.
The throwing down for Kevin Hogan and Stanford. 3rd and 16, 5.5 to go. Quick pitch to the outside. And down across the 20-yard line is Barry Sanders, but he's short of that first down.
Right away, he sends out the field goal unit. 5.5 minutes to go here, and he's thinking about 3 points here, trying to get a stop and getting the football back.
This is the first time that Stanford has been in the red zone since the first quarter. It is 4th down and 5. Bobbled by the holder. He's going to try to throw it back across the middle, and it's caught at the 9-yard line with a penalty flag throwing on the play. So one of their jumbo linemen got out, but is he eligible?
Like an illegal man downfield.
I think Calhoun's shaking his head there, number 89, indicating that that was an illegal receiver downfield. When it was a broken play, they took off because they felt it was going to have to be a run by Ben Ryan, the holder.
Ineligible man downfield on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
Brent Trent Murphy is lined up as the left wing. He makes the catch. He's fine. He's fine to be able to make the catch. He's 93. It's that the rest of the guys in the middle of that the offensive line, they start to go downfield as well, trying to either pick up a block or run downfield. It wasn't Murphy. It was the others moving downfield. And he just lost control of it. Not a design fake. That's obvious.
So now after the penalty, it will make a 39-yard attempt. And this one curling in for Jordan Williamson. Stanford pulls to within 4. 5 minutes remaining. They need the ball back. So David Shaw was seeking an explanation. Walt Anderson, the head of the Big 12 officials, is up here in the booth with us. And Walt, as you watched that play, was that a good call, ineligible receiver downfield?
Right. The player who's lined up on the end of the line and the up back are both eligible receivers. But once the other linemen go more than 3 yards downfield, then that would be an ineligible downfield.
Yeah. And Brent Lucama Tule got downfield 99. Well, he's 5, 6, 7 yards downfield. So it's the right call. David Shaw and his staff want the explanation.
And so we heard from Walt, who's the head of officials, and this is a Big 12 crew. And I just want to say they have done a fine job, and they're still back over there to feed the referee, talking about it with David Shaw. So Stanford will be kicking off with 5:05 to go, and they trail 24-20. Shelton and Ellsworth are back deep, and now DeFea's over there with Coach D'Antonio.
On the prior possession, the game clock stopped in error. The game clock should read 4:15. 4:15 on the game clock. The game clock stopped in error. Please set the clock to 4:15.
Which they have already done because they knew what Defee was going to tell the crowd here. It's always great to keep a crowd like this informed of what's happening. It was 5:05 when it stopped, and now they've readjusted to 4:15. So Shelton is back deep. Hogan hopes it's Skov and the defense can get the ball back. The Spartans hope they can kill the clock for Coach D'Antonio. And the Spartans will start from the 25.
You go back to the field goal just to have closure here. Garnett, 98, is the guy that you want to keep an eye on, Joshua Garnett. He actually efforts here, Brent. You'll see as the play goes on, there's a fire call. They start to take off. Look at him right here, what he does, right up here. He's thinking about the same thing that we're all thinking about. He hesitated, he tried to wait, but eventually he got too far down the field, and that's why the call was made.
Pendleton is back after being nicked up a little bit as the fullback, and he has been a key player in this game for Michigan State. Langford and Cook. Langford behind the right side of the offensive line.
It's an interesting time for Jim Bowman and Dave Warner and Mark D'Antonio. 4-point lead. Stanford wants the ball back. You got to work the clock on one hand. You also have a quarterback that's had a career night. Receivers that are playing very well. Do you wait to third down to try to run the ball, or do you try to maybe take a chance throwing the football here on second down?
Cook is in the gun. Langford is hit in the backfield by Skov. Skov read it perfectly. Jumped across the line of scrimmage, threw him for a loss, and here comes a big third down.
Yeah, once again, times it up. He and Tarpley coming right up the middle. Because of how quickly he closes in, the offensive line cannot pick him up. That's the way it's designed by Derek Mason. You bring both the linebackers, they pick up one, the other comes free. And like I said, do you wait do you run on second and wait to throw it on third down? Now you're in a tough position here on 3rd down and 10.
It's time for our Discover Game Changer, brought to you by Discover Card. And watch Connor Cook. This is the play that puts the Spartans ahead. Lippett reaches in for the touchdown. And now, Herbie, the Spartans trying to hang on.
Sure are. You force Stanford to use another timeout. They're down to 1 timeout now. 3.5 minutes to go. And where Dave Warner and Jim Bowman and Mark D'Antonio are talking now is, do you run the ball again, work some more clock? That's still a lot of time to leave on the clock. Or do you give your quarterback a chance to try to make a play and risk an incompletion?
Cook is going to put it up. Broken up. And it's 4th down. The Cardinal will get the ball back at 3:19. The nickel man over there, Umanum Uswa, does a great job. Uswa Umanum.
Umanum makes the play here, Brent, late in the flat. Late in the flat on a 3rd down call late in the game. Michigan State fortunate that Umanum did not step right in front of that. He had a crucial interception in last year's Rose Bowl that made him the defensive MVP. He almost had another one there.
Barry Sanders back deep again for the Cardinal. Sadler is the punter. Line drive. Barry's going to let it roll. Doesn't want to risk it blowing up, and they will start from the 25-yard line. So here comes Kevin Hogan after that 51-yard punt. He has 3:06 to work with.
Well, this is what every quarterback dreams of that grows up in the Big Ten or Pac-12 region. Down 4, game on the line, 1 timeout, touchdown wins the game and wins the 100th Rose Bowl. Kevin Hogan gets a chance to live that dream, and it's a great point that our crew brings up. He'll have to try to do it without Ty Montgomery, who is out with the apparent injury to one of his legs. So it's going to be up to Cody Whitfield, Kelsey Young, Michael Rector, Devin Kajus are going to have to step up in his absence.
Anthony Wilkerson, the blocker, comes in. Hogan keeps it to start this series, and he's up to the 29-yard line as the clock continues to run.
Yeah, third time we've seen him run that form of the zone read where they have a back go kind of parallel to the line of scrimmage. He's reading the defensive end, the play side defensive end. If he takes the back, he pulls it. If he stays on him, he'll give it. Time he went with the back, Wilkerson, and he pulled it out.
Ricky Seal into the backfield. Cody Whitfield, and they slip it out to Seal now. And he's across the 30-yard line. And that's the first time he's touched the ball, with Hoover making the stop. And now coming back is Tyler Gaffney. He will replace Seal, who was in for one play. And it is number 9, Cody Whitfield, who has picked up the reps from Ty Montgomery. Bob Whitfield's son has 1 touchdown catch this season, and it was spectacular.
Expect pressure from Michigan State's linebackers and safeties here.
And they will continue to try to run the ball, and Gaffney is eaten up on this play. What'd you think of that call, Herbie? Danico's Allen again, and timeout. That's the last timeout for Stanford.
And how about Kyler Ellsworth getting in there, the senior former walk-on who's in there for Max Bulla. He's been playing a lot of football tonight trying to defend this run. 41 right in the middle of this, gets off of a block and runs right into the middle of the trenches and hits Tyler Gaffney and pushes him back. You see a lot of green jerseys, but I'm with you. Interesting call there on 3rd down and short.
A little reminder coming up after the game, stay tuned for the Ford BCS postgame show. So it has come down to this 4th down. 1:48 on the clock. And Stanford, for the game, has 305 yards to Michigan State's 403. It has been tough going. And now the Cardinal needs a yard to stay alive in the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game.
Good against good. The big offensive line and Tyler Gaffney in that jumbo set against that Michigan State defense. It's as good as there is in America defending the run. Mark D'Antonio, Brent, will call a timeout.
Took a look at the set. Now remember, without Max Bulla out there as his middle linebacker, it is much easier if the coaching staff communicates directly with this defense rather than flashing signals. You saw the defensive coordinator down on the field, and it's much easier to tell them what to do. The one thing that you miss with a Max Bulla is being a quarterback out there on the field defensively. They don't have it. So keeping a couple of timeouts, D'Antonio and Narduzzi use one right now, and you can see the defensive coordinator in the middle of that huddle, and D'Antonio is listening to every word. He played defensive back at South Carolina. He was a defensive coordinator at Ohio State for Jim Tressel when they won a national championship. Man knows defense. 4th down and 1 now for the Cardinal. Fullback right straight ahead, and the Spartans say didn't get it. Michigan State will take over on the 34-yard line. Kyler Ellsworth, one of the Mike linebackers who replaced Bulla here today. He's in on this play. How about that for the youngster who came to Michigan State as a walk-on originally? in the biggest game of his career. He did not go with the team to the off-the-field functions except the ones that they were required to. He studied film all week long, and now he comes up with a huge play.
Interesting that they go with the lead back, the fullback, Hewitt, instead of going with the big tailback. The lead blockers leading the way for Gaffney, but instead they try to sneak in a quick dive play to Ryan Hewitt. Did not catch Michigan State off guard. Ellsworth elevates, and how fitting that Harris is involved there as well to make that play, and they will review it just to confirm the spot.
That's about as much emotion as I have ever, and I mean ever, seen D'Antonio show. So they will review the spot on this play, as they should with a play this important. It'll go upstairs now, and they'll take a look at it as Hewitt. And it looks to me like he was stopped before he could even get close to it.
At that point, the play's dead. Then he just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. But that initial surge, he is stoned short of the first down. Look at how fitting is that? Harris and Ellsworth.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
A green eruption at the Rose Bowl.
Defense had a big stop earlier in this game on a 4th down. They had a big one in Indianapolis, and they end up securing a victory here in the 100th Rose Bowl with another big stop on 4th down.
And this will stop the Big Ten bleeding in this game. They had lost 3 in a row. The greatest formation of Connor Cook's life. And the headset comes off. The young man who took over following the only Michigan State loss of the season, and that was at South Bend against Notre Dame. He was taken out in the 4th quarter, but during the week off after the loss, the coaches said, we've got to make a decision. And they said, let's go with the youngster. Let's go with Connor Cook. And here he is, leading Michigan State to a Rose Bowl championship. A minute left to go. I know it's cold in East Lansing, but this has got to make all of you feel just a little bit warmer.
No doubt about it. Mark D'Antonio has taken his program to such a tremendous level, doing things. And how about it? Here's the quarterback, Connor Cook. Good for him. 22 at 36, 332 yards with a couple touchdowns.
Andrew Maxwell, who gave ground to Connor Cook. He'll take this 3rd down snap. There's a fine young man. And D'Antonio will come out to shake hands with Coach Shaw. And somewhere, Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney is celebrating this victory. Nebraska beats Georgia today. And now Michigan State holds off a favored Stanford team. Next up will be Ohio State in the Orange Bowl when they take on Clemson. There's nothing like the Rose Bowl game, and of course it will undergo a huge change after this matchup between the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Next year it'll be one of the semifinal games. But for the time being and this moment, it's old school Rose Bowl, the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game, and Michigan State wins it. Let's go down to Tom Rinaldi and Coach D'Antonio.
Brent, thank you very much. Why don't you put that cap on?
There we go.
You came here in the spring on an alumni function. You took a detour. You stood on this field in May, and your daughters recorded a video of you envisioning this moment. How does it live up to it in reality?
You know, I just knew we were going to have a special football team this year. There's no question in my mind, and got great leadership from our guys, all of our seniors, great leadership. Our guys came to play, just fought back tonight, and some type of way, we got it done.
How fitting is it that it comes down to a 4th down and 1 with this defense?
Yeah, real fitting. You know, our defense played outstanding. Great call by Narduzzi, something we had not shown. We were firm in the middle and got it done. You know, great job by Stanford, you know, but we're 13-1 football team. We're in the Rose Bowl. It can't get much better than that.
We talk so much about Max Fuller's absence. Tyler Ellsworth is the guy who flies through and makes that play. What did that mean to you about next man up?
Well, we got guys. We got guys on our football team that play a lot of football. You know, we're deep. We're deep on our football team, and we're going to get deeper with some of the recruits that are coming our way. But, you know, it's an exciting time. You know, Kyler, great game. Darian Harris filled in, but, you know, big plays around the board. You know, it's hard for me to say who played out well, but just big plays.
The 26 years it took this program to get back here. I could see it in your face, and I know what this school means to you and these players. How do you sum up the moment?
I'll tell you how you sum up the moment. You're going to be able to come back here and see Michigan State up there winning on that plaque outside this Rose Bowl 50 years from now with your grandchildren. That's what you're going to be able to do.
Congratulations. Well done for Spartan Nation.
Thank you very much. Our guys showed out tonight. Spartan Nation is here and alive. Go Green. Love everybody home.
Congratulations. Brent.
Thank you very much, Tom. Now, Tom asked you about this video. Take a look and take a listen. Last May.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rose Bowl. Had an opportunity to come out here in late May and just walk on the field a little bit. And this is where we make it happen. So January 1st this year, or 2014 as we get into it, it'll be our time. It will be our time.
His daughter took that video on her cell phone. Mark D'Antonio. Wow. What a win for the Michigan State Spartans and Coach D'Antonio. And when you get him back home, folks, lock the door. Don't let him even think about it anyplace else. Let's go back, Herbie, to that play that D'Antonio talked about.
He just told Tom Rinaldi that they saved this blitz where they brought both these linebackers. You see them both elevate, go up and over. Still very surprised that Hewitt, the lead back, gets the football instead of leading the way for Gaffney, but they gave him the ball and Michigan State would not be denied. It just, the game was so symbolic of the year that Michigan State had. They were down 10 in the first quarter, uncharted waters, and instead of giving in, they fought back. Just like when they gave up 24 unanswered to Ohio State and Indianapolis, they fought back. It's just who they are. It's the team that they've become, and they have so much to be proud of.
The sideline erupting after that play. Now, where is that traditional bath? Antonio's quick. That's the only thing they missed all day, folks. They didn't get close to Mark D'Antonio. How about that?
They got to get him for that. When Connor Cook there hugging his coach. What a game for Connor Cook.
So let's go down now to the presentation stand, and here is Chris Fowler.
Brent, thank you, folks. I'm joined by Mark D'Antonio and some happy Spartans. Also joined by Ben Wong, the president and CEO of our title sponsor, Vizio, and the president of the Tournament of Roses to present the trophy, Mr. Scott Jenkins. Scott?
Congratulations, Coach. Champion of the granddaddy of them all, the 100th Rose Bowl game.
Mark, congratulations. A moment more than a quarter century in the making for Michigan State's fans. You've been in coaching 33 years, 7 years at Michigan State, all building to this achievement. What are you most proud of tonight?
Completion. It's a special time for all the Spartans, and we came here in force. Very, very happy for our football team, the resilience we've shown all season long. I knew last year that if we came this year, if we found the inches, that we could be something special. 13-1 is pretty special. I want to congratulate our players. Dream big.
Well, this is a big dream realized. I guess it was fitting with the personality of your team all year. It had to come down to a defensive stop on 4th down. with the linebacker over here, was filling in for one of the great Spartans of all time, leaping over the top to make the stop. And you showed the most exuberant reaction I've ever seen from a normally stoic guy.
Yeah, well, I get a little excited at the Rose Bowl, you know.
Offensively, just like the Big Ten championship game, you had to show a lot of trust in your quarterback, Connor Cook. Not every play he made was terrific, but he made a lot of big ones.
Connor has the ability to come back and bounce back after something bad. He's resilient. I've said that all along. You know, he has a way of recollecting himself and moving forward. That's what he's able to do. Great catches by our wideouts. Thought our offense played outstanding, really controlled the tempo of the game. And then defensively, once we caught fire in the second half, you know, played very, very well.
I was visiting with your daughters who shared that moment on this empty Rose Bowl field in the spring as you contemplated what it must be like to achieve a moment like this. How does it match up?
Well, it's surreal, you know. I stood down here. There was about 6 people in the stadium at the time. And I told our football team that they would be the ones. And now we're here. It's a done deal. It's surreal. I told them when they walked on this field it'd be something special. And Rose Bowl did not disappoint, I'm tell you.
Congratulations, Mark. Let's visit now with the offensive and defensive players of the game. Connor Cook, please come on in here first. Sophomore quarterback, boy, you had to bounce back from some rough plays. Take us through that drive near the end of the first half after the pick six.
You know, I've been resilient all year. You just got to put things behind you. You got to have a short-term memory as a quarterback, especially being on a big stage like this. You have a pick six, you just got to push it behind, just focus on the now and focus on the task at hand, and that's what I did.
It's been 14 years since the team has come from behind at halftime to win a Rose Bowl. Take us through the closing quarter of this game today.
You know, I'm lost for words. You know, just to be able to be here with my teammates, you know, to send the seniors out on a high note and just, you know, hold on the football at the end and just be able to take a knee in the Rose Bowl, the 100th Rose Bowl. It's a surreal feeling, and it's just such a blessing. And I'm just so happy that we got to send out the seniors on the right note.
Congratulations, Connor. Let's bring in Kyler Ellsworth right now, the defensive MVP, the man who met the ball carrier over the top on that fourth down stop. Boy, this is a storybook ending. You replace a guy who's almost impossible to replace, Max Bulla. Talk about your emotions and your ability to perform this way today.
You know, coming into this game, I have my coaching staff behind me. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking at first, stepping into the starting job that's, you know, been placed by Max Bull for years now. But I had the support of my coaching staff, my players. You know, that gave me confidence to come in here with, you know, a demeanor that, you know, I'm going to get the job done. And, you know, came out on top. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, a moment you can only dream about. That fourth down play at the end of the game. You go airborne. I didn't know you had that kind of hops to meet the ball carrier. Take us through that stop.
You know, all week in practice, you know, we've been talking about, you know, when they get all their big guys in there, the backside guy, it's going to be tough to make a play unless you launch yourself and go over the top. And, you know, when I saw their offensive lineman stance, real close splits, they were going to take the defensive line needs out. You know, the only way that I knew I was going to be able to make a play is go over top, and was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time and couldn't be happier.
Coach and Connor talked about sending out the seniors in style. Boy, what a moment to conclude your career here as a homegrown guy.
Hey, you know, exactly. Couldn't ask for more. You know, sending not only our seniors off with a bowl win, but, you know, starting off the 2014 season, you know, with the other guys going to be here with a win. I hope that rolls on, you know, next year's season, and I couldn't be happier. And, you know, thank you, Spartan Nation.
Congratulations, Kyler and Connor and D'Antonio and the entire Michigan State Spartan organization. Win the Rose Bowl for the first time since '88. We've had so many great memories at this game in the 100 chapters. Today, another one. Brett, back upstairs to you guys.
Chris, thank you very much. And along with everything else, this is a huge, huge win for the Big Ten Conference. And Herbie, I want to jump ahead. I know the Fiesta Bowl is coming up right after this game. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I want to jump ahead now to Ohio State, because they're next up for the conference against Clemson. The Buckeyes can win this. This will have been a very successful round of bowl games overall for the conference.
Oh, yeah, and they've really needed that. It's been a tough run since '06, and I think Jim Delaney would be the first one to tell you that every time the postseason comes around, collectively, it's very important that they do well. Even the games that they lost today, they were competitive. And now the baton is handed, as you said, to Ohio State against Clemson, a game that it looks like on paper would be a shootout, and we'll see who ends up winning that game.
And, oh, yes, by the way, after they clear this field, folks, they're going to bring this turf completely up tonight. And then overnight, they're going to start to roll down the new turf here at the Rose Bowl for next Monday night. Just a little game between Florida State and Auburn. Herbie.
Well, there's so much goes into January 1st and New Year's Day and all these great bowl games. You almost try to put that game on the back burner. You and I will have the good fortune of sitting up here and watching that game unfold, and there'll be a lot of speed on the field between those two teams. Everybody wants to see Jameis Winston after winning the Heisman, and we all want to see that Auburn offense against that Florida State defense.
Right now, hail to the Michigan State Spartans. They came in here a touchdown underdog. They trailed early, and they got the job done with a second half rally. And it is a moment on that 4th and 1 that young man will never forget, nor will his coach. 24-20, Spartans win it. Now let's go to Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman at Glendale, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Take it away, Sean. Good luck with that game.